Roll that interstitial, Mariah. Well, hello there, Dynamos. You're in the right place. This is ModPod Studio Live presents Gals, Gays, and Theys, the world premiere. Let's start off right away with the news of the day. This just in, breaking news. It's what everybody's talking about, and it's impacting people around the globe. The world premiere of Gals, Gays, and Theys here at ModPod Studio. ModPod Studio Live presents. Woohoo! Oh, this has been a long time in the making. I am so excited. I'm about to bounce off the walls. Thank you all for being here. Right away, let's get right into it. What is Gals, Gays, and Theys? Gals, Gays, and Theys is a 3-hour, bi-weekly, interactive live stream dedicated to providing a safe, diverse, and inclusive space for the LGBTQIA plus community, allies, loved ones, and really anybody who's ever felt marginalized. The entire goal here is to give just a regular space to people who feel like they want to belong, they want to party, belong. That is the word that we're going to use a lot here, because here at ModPod Studio and at Gals, Gays, and Theys, you absolutely belong. Again, it's interactive, so we hope you'll jump in the chat and say as much as you want. But I know I can probably feel her heart beating from here. These things do not happen alone. Ladies and gentlemen, my right-hand woman, the director of production here at ModPod Studio, Mariah Khorasani. Her first applause of the day. The first applause of the day.
Oh, my goodness.
Hi,
JD.
Hi, hun.
Hi, I'm nervous.
Can we just take a second to breathe?
Yeah.
I am nervous too. I'm not gonna lie. It's how could you not be? But it's it's like excitement nerves. It's so exciting.
Definitely mostly excitement.
So let's tell people, how did this all come about? Because there's a little story behind it, right?
There is. I feel like there's a lot to it, but also it was a very simple meant to be process.
Yes, it was. And it feels like the energy of the universe is just guiding it.
Man, I mean, just with where we thought the show was gonna begin and where we thought it was gonna be to today.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've all been on a journey
We have.
together. Yeah.
And now we're welcoming the world to go on this journey with us. We want you to feel included every step of the way. We're going to get really raw, really vulnerable. The people who are involved with this show are all on the same page. We want to provide this authentic space to really talk about things that matter. And to prove to you how much I want to invite you to my space, Mariah, get that video ready of the house. I'm going to go ahead and show you my space. This is my home. This is where ModPod is. That's one of our shows that inspired us to do this live stream. Shout out to LA Taco Live. That's my living room, which has been described as a French boudoir by at least one person. And there's my chubby butt. I wish those exercise shorts actually meant I exercised, but we'll work on that. By the way, I love my chub. I love myself. I am not self-denigrating. And that is hair and makeup. That is where we get beautiful and get ready. And you might see some stuff in the background from another segment we'll be doing about drag queens or powering through. Hey, that sign right there says empowered women empower women.
That's right.
I'm a feminist and a half. My tiny little fridge. And then, believe it or not, some homes in California do have a basement. Mine does. It's over 100 years old, so this is where they used to keep the meat cold, I guess. And then this is ModPod Studio. Hey, is that funny? Look, the audience is going nuts over that. When you first arrive, you come to our, those people really love to laugh. Who doesn't need to stay hydrated? Oh, there's Peekaboo Mariah. That's engineering. That's the brain, the nerve center of the business. And where like really anything can go on this show. We've all decided there's no mistakes. We're not going to let perfection be the enemy of great. We're not going to let perfection be the enemy of fabulous, really. But if the internet goes down, just stand by. We'll get back on. I mean, we're all subject to spectrum. So that's our what we consider like our little interview area / extra spots you'll see in a moment. Hey, our branding is for this video was shot for a new client of ours. You'll know that this is an active studio. We're not just here for this show. This studio is here for other live shows, other podcasts, video podcasts, all kinds of recordings and such. And then there we are at the table. So now you've been invited into my home. Please know that you're welcome here. And if you have any questions or whatever, you can throw them in the chat. Speaking of, one of the biggest characters on this show, if not the biggest, is you, the Dynamos. That's what we call you. Why do we call you that? Because Dynamos are the gorgeous, ever-evolving, fearless fans of gals, gays, and theys. And you guys belong here. Hey, Dynamos. And since we have dynamos, we need a dynamic dynamo duo.
That's right.
That's the two people who are going to be here, maybe all at the same time, maybe not. They are the coordinators of the chat, the brains behind our live chat. I'm going to introduce you guys right now. Let's go see Michelle Orrego and DeMarcus Eckford. Welcome to Gals, Gays, and Theys. Yes. Oh, I meant to go like this. Oh, that's Michelle. Welcome to the show.
Is Dynamos kind of like
Bring that mic up next to your mouth, real close.
Dynamos like the beehive sort of
Exactly.
mentality, the monsters of Gaga, like
Yes,
okay.
the Beliebers,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Swifties,
I love it.
the Dynamos.
I love it. I
If
like
there's
the
a phone.
Dynamos.
We're getting a call.
Oh, is that a
live.
call right now?
It
I think it's a
is.
Dynamo. Go ahead and answer that.
Oh my gosh.
Hello?
ModPod Studio. This is Mariah.
Oh, hi, Mariah. This is one of the Dynamos. I would really like to talk to you about. That was not planned. But here's the fun thing.
That's
I'm just going to throw
hilarious.
this in right now. We
Yeah.
hate sales calls, right? Who doesn't hate sales calls? This phone that just rang, it came with our internet package. We've never given the number to anybody. We know when that phone
They
rings
sold it.
that it's a sales call. And in order to take back the power that all those wonderful telemarketers have taken from us, we will be having segments with those salespeople. We're figuring out how to get the voice on live. So watch us Fridays and Tuesdays from 2 to 5 Pacific, because we're going to be showing you. We're going to have some fun with some sales call people, because a big part of the show is humor, because one of our core values is not to take ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
I can't remember what comedian did it. God, was it from Saturday Night Live? It was some skit where he goes, "Oh yeah, you're recording me? Well, I'm recording you." You know how they say,
Exactly.
"This call may be recorded." Well, I'm gonna record it. Okay, how's that?
We're already recording. And then sitting right next to Michelle is the amazing DeMarcus Eckford. DeMarcus, welcome to Gals, Gays, and Theys. The other half of our dynamic duo.
I'm seeing your commercial run all the time. I feel like a stalker. I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching DeMarcus.
I love it.
I
love
see you
it.
all the
I'm
time
still
now.
in disbelief myself. I'm
Right?
like, that's really me. Oh,
That's
gosh.
you.
wow. It's been
You're
a
being
long time coming.
followed by the. Is it by the? My brain's totally blanked on because I only see you. The actual commercial is what? It's you're being
Fatburger.
followed by the-
Fatburger.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Fatburger.
Well, there's
okay,
a few of them out
There's
there.
a few of them. Yeah, Carvana just came out today. That's another one. that just came out
Rock
today.
and roll. Oh, it is so. It like
He's
warms
the
my
it
heart,
guy.
DeMarcus, to see
He's
because
the
you've been
it guy.
pounding the pavement in Hollywood. But
For
obviously,
11
DeMarcus is
years.
an actor. He's a producer. He's been part of the ModPod family since before this, since my CNN and ArcLight Cinemas days. Michelle and I met each other over 20 years ago at KTLA in the media business. We're all in the news business. And now we co-host a podcast with our other best friend, Mindy Stearns. That is called Friendsome and Then Some. I believe we have an asset from that to
Yes.
show off. Oh, there we are. Does that studio look familiar? It's a little bit less gay up there. Michelle, let me ask you, what is your greatest intention? What is your hope to come from this this new live stream we're putting out to the world?
I would argue it's as gay as this show and glorious and fun. You're asking what would I add to this show? Well, I'd like to add some honesty, some perspective. I sort of have this fly by the seat of my pants attitude when it comes to my thoughts. And sometimes I can't keep track of my own thoughts. So
Don't worry,
might,
there's a delay.
I might throw some curveballs.
That's what
I was
we
going to
love.
ask DeMarcus if he was going to get his dimples insured, kind of like, Heidi Klum has her legs insured.
I'm nervous as hell right now. So you guys know.
That's so funny. You have no reason
So
to be
cute.
nervous, DeMarcus.
Yeah, I'm not.
It's my first podcast,
Yeah, well, it's fun and it's a lot.
And
it's
live
a
stream.
live stream. So
And
that's
live
what's
stream.
different about
Exactly.
it than just a podcast. It's a
right.
live stream. So anything goes. As far as my perspective, we met professionally. So I've been in the business mostly. I like to be behind the camera. You know that. I guess you could say I'm a control freak. I like having my hand in the production of things. And I'm in real estate. I'm very active in LA real estate right
Yes,
now.
you are.
I have several clients showing properties.
You're also my real estate agent. You've helped me
Yes, we've
amazing
gone
in amazing
through a couple
ways.
houses
Yes.
together.
This one included. Helped me
Yes.
buy this house.
I love
Thank you.
this house so much. It's got so much rich history and character, just like you. Just
thank
like
you. Yeah, and it's old as hell, just like me.
And
In
I'm a
an
mom of 2
experienced way.
kids, so
That's right.
I'm a mom. I'm a boy mom, and I love being a boy mom. I'm a single mom, so I just have a different perspective. So
right.
I'm here to share. I'm here to love. I'll probably be the mama bear of the crew.
Yeah,
I guess that if
you are the heart and
if you were to
soul of our
imprint-
podcast. Exactly.
Imprint a title. I would be a dynamo mama bear.
Oh,
So
I love that.
once you fallen in love with Michelle, which will probably take about 0.5 seconds, you can go get at least 50 episodes of Friendsome and Then Some available on
Yes,
YouTube or wherever you get your
digest it
podcast.
at
This
your
woman,
will.
yes, you have brought the best guests in. I mean, it's just remarkable. This show and actually, this is the reason this studio exists, is because we started
Yeah.
podcasting before the pandemic.
Labor of love.
Exactly.
Well, and next week we have some really great guests coming up that we're going to record
That's
and
right.
include in this live stream
Exactly.
as we're recording. So that'll be different.
Right.
There'll be it's
Let
kind
me,
of
let me explain a little bit about
exciting.
that to the dynamos, everybody out there. So, you're a fly on the wall, right? You're here at ModPod Studio, and Gals, Gays, and Theys is our first show on ModPod Studio Live, which is our YouTube channel and Twitch channel. So we're live streaming in both those places right now. But then all of that content is going to get cut up and put on playlists. So if you missed it live, you can watch it. But come live, because live is where you get to be interactive. That's where you get to chat, and we can actually engage you and raise your questions on the air, do shout outs. By the way,
there's
yes.
lots of people coming.
Oh,
into
they're
chat.
it. This is exactly why the dynamos are here.
Hi, Rosie. She said, "OMG, hi."
Hi, Rosie.
And we got some emphatic. Let's go.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam,
So that gives me a lot of
Woohoo!
peace, because
So
it means the live
excited.
stream's going out. Yeah. And we know, because sometimes you never know. But yeah, so wait, where was I? I lost my train of thought.
That it's interactive.
Yes,
That
it's-
we encourage your chats. We encourage you to not just be a fly on the wall and
Mm-hmm.
see what's happening behind the scenes. We're going to have amazing guests that are dependable and sort of like the usual suspects.
That's right.
But we're
That's
also
what I
going to
was
have
saying.
a lot of curveballs.
Yes. But as part of this show, people, Michelle and I are both here, and we're going to be here all the time. And we also have that podcast that is recorded here. So sometimes during the show, Mindy will join us, and you'll see us recording Friends Some and Then Some during the podcast. Same with our dear friend Rosie, who maybe that was the Rosie who we just said hi to.
Yes, it was Rosie.
It's Rosie.
Oh, yay, Rosie. Shout out.
Hi,
That is
Rosie.
Radically Loved. That is her podcast, which she also records here. And so when she is in studio, and it's during the hours of Gals, Gays, and Days, Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific, if I haven't mentioned that. I know today's Wednesday, but it's 2/2/22, and who could not premiere on that day?
No, it's an epic
auspicious, as they would say. So you get the vibe. So whatever's happening in the studio, if it's during our hours, we're just going to include it right in the Gals, Gays, and Days moment. So you can be live watching us record a podcast. And let me tell you, the guest that this one books on our Friends Some and Then Some podcast is just so next level. Like this, it's so much in the brand of what we're doing here. Because what we're doing here is trying to give a consistent, inviting, safe place for people who've ever felt marginalized to come live their best lives, feel included, and really feel like they belong.
Make you feel seen, heard, and that you're not alone.
Exactly. And not take ourselves too seriously. And
Exactly.
to do the thing, I want to get a punching bag and put guilt, shame, fear, and self-doubt on it. And every time.
No, we need a wood chipper.
Yes. We're setting those. Well, those attributes.
We need a wood chipper
are
sound
not
effect,
so
Mariah.
helpful. Exactly.
On it.
Oh, wait. Let me see. What do I have here? And by the way.
Yes,
Oh.
a shredder.
We'll find it.
Rachel Anderson says, I love being a dynamo.
Oh, Rachel Anderson. Shout out to our makeup girl. I love you so much, Rachel. Thank you. And you know what? In honor of Rachel Anderson, DeMarcus, why don't you reach your hand into our intentions bowl over there? Just pick any one of them out of there. You don't have to say who wrote it. I don't think any of us wrote who wrote it. We all just want you to know what this is all about. So every now and then we're going to remind you.
We're going right out the gate with it.
Oh, go ahead.
Have a great first show and get the show sponsored.
There you go. Sponsors. We
The
do.
universe has spoken.
It's funny. Oh, that's such a funny thing, actually. But that is authentic. No matter what happens, what you guys are going to get from us is the truth, honesty. And sometimes it's going to be painful, sad, because we've all had hard lives. I think that the pain in my life personally is what has been delivered me to the best place in my life. So we'll talk a lot about that too. Who doesn't know that feeling? Diamonds are made under pressure. Join us on Gals, Gays, and Days, and we'll show you how to shine. That's the goal here. But what I think, are we ready to bring on our next guest? Have I missed anything, Mariah?
I think so.
Okay, our
We
next.
need to know more about DeMarcus, though.
We didn't
Oh,
think he-
yes, we do. That's right.
Didn't he
That
have,
is right. That is right.
Didn't
No,
he have
DeMarcus,
a-
you're
Right.
not getting out of this.
Yeah.
Right, all right.
I'm gonna go like
Come on.
this.
We need to know about you, where you've
Oh.
been.
Tell her to wait. We're talking about DeMarcus still. Let's talk about Africa.
Yeah, we
I
have
wanna
some
talk about
pictures that
Africa.
we want to show too.
All right.
Okay, take it away, DeMarcus. Once that screen pops over there, now that is on. So
Well, there's me on a resort, and it is amazing. Africa was just something that needed to happen in my life. I felt like I was missing something. And my dad and my stepmom, they all invited me to go with them on this trip to Ghana. And it was, I'm still in shock right now at all the stuff
When
that I
did
got
you
to
go?
see.
Were you just there? Just
I
returned?
just got back about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's very fresh.
Right when I got off the plane, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm home or something. It just felt really inviting. The food, the people, the environment. There were some times where I got pretty shaken up because I'm not used to seeing a whole bunch of poverty here is different from poverty over there. It's totally different. But even in that setting, people were still inviting and still reassuring you that everything was going to be okay. It was a really great experience.
that's
And
awesome.
I felt like I came back to California with a lot more to offer, and I felt like I just grew up, going there.
And it's loosened up something, man. I mean, you're freaking killing it. If it wasn't clear before, DeMarcus is an actor. We're going to show some of his commercials here down the line because we're just so proud of everybody that's involved with the show. I'm glad Africa was so amazing.
Thank you.
That's on my bucket list.
Please.
It's like
Yeah.
a vibration.
We can
that
all go
you-
together.
Yeah,
the whole
There's
team here.
nothing like traveling.
Everybody should go. Everybody should go because it just gives you a different perspective
Yes,
on life
traveling
in general.
is
That's
just-
awesome.
yeah,
What's
traveling
happening
in
here? I
general.
want
I
to
was
see
gonna
this.
just say. I
That
was
is
curious
a
about this.
traditional African wedding. And what happens is from one side of the family, or from both sides of the family, you have representatives, and they negotiate this stuff. Like, okay, so you're supposed to bring this, and you're supposed to bring that. And if you don't bring something, well, back in the day, if you didn't bring something, they're like, well, the wedding's off. It's not.
Really?
You know, but here it's. I mean,
love that.
They weren't going to do
ceremonial,
that. It
right.
was, yes, more ceremonial, and it was just amazing. Like the music, the dance, the praises, like the food. Oh my God, it was just amazing.
Is
So
this
the
your
concept
family?
is like,
You fell in
family
love.
kind of
Yeah,
marries family.
It's
It's
actually
not
inside of a
individual,
house, like
right?
that's like a living room that they're in.
Wow.
Wow.
So that was
really
amazing.
cool.
My cousin's in Liberia right now.
Really?
Yeah, which is close to Ghana, right? It's next door neighbors.
You're asking
Right?
the wrong guy.
Hey, we said actor, not
gonna act like I know.
geography expert. Come on now. This looks
Well,
cool.
yeah, it's
I want to see,
coastal.
what is that? That's you empowering the statue above you.
That's I forget his last name, but his first name is Kwame. That's Ghana's first president who tried to unite all of Ghana to make it like the United States.
Cool.
Got pretty damn close, but there's a lot of history behind this guy, and I brought one of his books. I want to actually write a script on it. Maybe somewhere down the line.
I can't wait, and I can't wait for your Sammy Davis Jr. project to come out. Can I talk about that? Hope I can.
I mean, it's coming out soon, baby. It's coming out soon.
You know, I need to say this too
That's a good
about, you know, everybody that's here. Not everybody here is a LGBT, you know, or even an LGBTQIA. They may be a plus because plus includes allies. But, you know, everybody, we wanted to bring together a regular crew of people that have a really unique perspective. You heard Michelle's a mother, single mom, and she's cisgendered. So is, I mean, DeMarcus isn't a single mom. DeMarcus is a single, I don't even think he's single, right? You got a girlfriend. But he's, you know.
You will not play one on a commercial.
We will.
Leave it to the real single moms.
Well,
like, I
hopefully
cornered the
she's not
commercial
watching
market.
right now, and this isn't news to her.
I'm in trouble if she did. Well,
Oh boy,
you know, it's in those complicated. We make it work here and there, but
I'm nervous for you.
I love you, babe.
Saved by the Bell. There was the doorbell, and you know what? I think I know who's here. I believe it's our next guest, regular co-host. Are you saying that I forgot something?
Do you want to do a mindful moment?
Yes, I do want to do a mindful moment. My first
We all keep
mistake.
each other on track.
We don't let perfection be the enemy of fabulous. All right, so a mindful moment. You know, I need this moment. I need this moment right now. Let's get present.
Take a deep breath.
I know, be in this moment, and this mindful moments are just moments that we're gonna take, you know, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever feels right, to gather ourselves, get present, and offer you dynamos something encouraging, inspiring, or helpful. And so here's our first one. All right. If anybody is visually impaired or listening on our podcast, that mindful moment says, I've learned that people will forget what you've said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that was from the legendary American poet Maya Angelou. And a question followed. How do you want to make people feel? today and in the future. That's something that we're going to talk a lot about here because that is so important to us. Welcome back, everybody. I am super excited because now somebody is here that I am really, really jazzed to tell you about. Jazzed. Let me make a proper introduction with my glasses here. She is the best-selling author of 2 books, a globally recognized and beloved psychic, sexy psychic, and as well as a musician, an author, and a healer, and a great intuitive, and somebody who's kind of been blowing my mind a lot lately. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, Mariah, roll that interstitial. All right. Hey, that's right. Put your hands together for the legendary Angelica Perman. Woohoo. Hi, Angelica. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good.
You make me smile so big when I see your face. So, as you just saw in the interstitial, we got a sexy mama here. She is going to be a regular co-host, and she has her own segment, sort of a show within a show approach. Like I said, you know, Gals, Gays, and Days is all about showing you how the sausage is made and bringing you backstage at ModPod. So her show, why don't you tell me about TAPS, the Angelica Perman Show?
Okay, so it's a weekly show at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm doing it every
Yes.
Tuesday, a little closer. Hey
There you go. There you go.
And I'm
Let
gonna be
people hear
doing-
that velvet voice of yours.
Hi, how's everybody doing today? We're going to be doing live readings
Mhm.
and Q&A, spiritual connection. I'm going to bring a lot of inspiration and talk about why things are so intense right now and then how we can get through it using spiritual tools, but
Right.
super fun and playful.
And remarkably accurate. Something I want to just talk about
Okay, let's talk.
real quick is that it's all small world. The reason that Angelica came into my life, and I'm so grateful to it, is because of a beautiful friend, lifelong friend, Michelle over there, who just celebrated. Can I tell everybody how old you are?
Hells yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm 50.
I'm 50.
She celebrated her
I like to
50th
kick.
birthday here at the house. And
did kick it, too.
she's, of course, scheduled a psychic and tarot card reader to be part of the amazingness. And I got a reading from Angelica. And mind you, this is not very long ago. Life has changed a lot in the last few months for me. And we will definitely be getting into that in the show. Not today, but in the future. And Angelica made a very prophetic, very inspired reading that at the time I was like, okay, I don't know about that.
I remember you looking at me like, I don't know. And I was like, you just wait.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of, I'm definitely not I'm a skeptic in life. And, part of being a journalist in general is being,
Right. Curious.
sort of curious about things. By the way, there's another intention of the show, replacing judgment with curiosity. If you
love
do
that.
that in life, it really can change the
It's a game
framework
changer.
around things. Exactly. So on your show, which is going to be every Tuesday at 4, you're going to be bringing your music. You're going to be bringing your wisdom, your intuition, doing live readings, which I think people are going to love. Dynamos. If you've got a question for Angelica, throw it in the chat and she will answer it. Did you want to do a demo of a live reading now?
I do, but I wanted to talk about some other stuff first.
Yes, good.
If
Let's
you
do
don't
it.
mind.
Please. I want to talk for as long as you want to talk.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this date, 2222.
Oh.
And the numbers, the angel numbers. For those of you out there that are constantly seeing triple-digit numbers, are maybe started seeing 1111 and then 222, 333, all of these numbers, and then sometimes they're popping, right? So I look at those numbers. 22 is a cooperation number. It's collaboration. It's the energy of the two whenever two or more are gathered. So the fact that we're doing this on 2222
At
right
2.
at 2, right? Right after the Chinese New Year, Mercury went direct, which
Bye-bye.
Mercury is going direct on the 4th, and Venus went direct. So what that means is that these planets have been going backwards, bringing up our issues around love, romance, relationships, right? And then also communication. So everything's up for us right now in our personal life. And
I feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now
shift.
with the new year, it's the year of the tiger, right? In Chinese New Year, it's the water tiger, right? I don't know what I don't really know about that, but I'm just going to say it's sexy and powerful.
Why not?
I like
Tigers are sexy and
tigers.
powerful.
So it's going to be a sexy, powerful year. And
Is it weird to call an animal sexy?
No, not at
I
all.
don't know. I don't know what I've just.
I guess
said
there
it,
are
though.
sexier
Snakes are
animals.
sexy.
Or
Look.
like a stallion, like a
There's
big horse. Oh, you found the snake.
Yeah.
Oh.
And snake is all
Very
about
sexy.
transformation, right?
Yes.
So we
That's-
made it through these past few years, and part of the reason why we're doing this,
Mm-hmm.
we talked about awakening,
Right.
right?
Oh, yes.
And we talked about the pandemic and the great awakener on this planet, and how people are waking up. Some of it's from the isolation, some of it's from the pain of losing work, family members, all of these things, right?
Right.
But the opportunity is to go deeper, to look at ourselves and realize that we're all connected, even when we feel most alone, right?
Right.
So we wanted to talk about that awakening and what is an awakening. So you've been through one.
I feel
right?
like it's happening every day.
Right.
Right.
And there's like the initial awakening. So that can come on from trauma. Or like Eckhart Tolle. Okay, I don't know if you guys know the author.
yeah.
Him.
Eckhart Tolle, Power of Now.
Oprah, hello.
Right.
Anybody who's ever been on Oprah, I know.
He wanted to kill himself. He was done. And apparently he was going to do that. He was very depressed, went on a park bench and had an enlightened moment and awakened to his true self. So that's what turned his light switch on. Other people have a near death, a drug overdose. Some of my clients have had near death experiences, been in comas, and then woke up with all these spiritual gifts, intuition, connecting to their healing, and looking at life like in a totally different way. I'm looking at everybody because there's a whole crew, so I need to look at the camera here a little bit. So that I wanted to talk about those symptoms, signs you've been through an awakening. Okay.
Okay.
So
Everybody,
Something this-
get out those notepads. These are the signs that you've gone through an awakening.
I'm
Okay.
ready.
I feel like
That
the
was
world's going through an awakening.
yeah. So
Is
the
the sky falling
signs,
down?
the signs you've been through or maybe going through awakening. Everything in your life has just blown up, and you're in a what the F moment. You're like, oh my God, I was doing really great. I was just strolling along in life, and then all of a sudden, everything just changed. You know, maybe you lost a house, lost family members, relationship, job, and everything blew up. That was one way, and now it's another way.
Right.
Another symptom would be like you're walking down the street and you feel disassociated. You don't feel like you're connected with your own identity anymore. You're walking around like, who am I? Who are these people? And what am I doing here? It's really weird being on Earth. I don't really feel like I'm from here. And maybe you're not. Okay.
That-
Mariah, do you want to jump in and say something? Our own.
Right?
It's
Oh,
transformation, right?
Yeah.
Right, it's transformation. And sometimes it happens over a long period of time. Sometimes it's sudden. And sometimes it's multiple spirals
Yeah.
where you awaken and then awaken
I
and
can
awaken.
feel that, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for myself, it was young. I was 19, 20. And that was my
You had
first
an awakening at 19 and 20?
Yeah, that was when
I
it...
used to sleep in a lot at 19 and 20.
Well, I was partying a lot at the time.
I was not
okay?
awake.
So some of that was induced by lots of partying
Hey,
and lots
but
of late
still,
nights.
that's a download.
It was,
Yes.
I
I
was definitely
realized
downloading
that
girl in New York City.
Hallucinations are downloads. Not you don't have to debunk something and question its reality or your state of reality, because a
Right.
transformation is a It's like a trip. You're not
Right.
going to be the same when you come back.
Oh, yeah. That's another symptom that you feel like you're tripping and you haven't taken
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You're like, I feel high
I
and
always
weird.
feel high.
That's like the pink cloud.
Yeah, the pink
Do you know
cloud.
what the pink cloud? Not everybody will know that phrase, but we'll talk about recovery.
I
So.
always
Yeah, the pink cloud.
I love it.
So you feel like you're on drugs and you're
Don't
not.
talk to her. She's not even here yet. Cheese and crackers. I'm just kidding. Oh, this is a live stream, folks. Welcome. Which camera am I looking at? Okay.
Angelica, what about people who, and this is the majority of us, the problem with COVID and the pandemic is the resistance to change.
Right.
So people could have had these epiphanies and wonderful transformations, but they're resisting it. And
Yes.
why do we fear change so much?
Yes.
Yeah,
See
because
it
of
Pay attention,
traumatized.
dynamos. Dynamic dynamos. We
Let's
are
see if
change
yeah.
embracers here.
I'm going to say because of trauma.
Oh,
Unfelt
so
feelings
true.
and trauma. So we associate sudden change, even excitement, with trauma. And there's positive
makes
trauma and
sense.
negative trauma. And there's small traumas that we buried that we don't even think of as traumas, right?
Yeah.
So we're very conditioned to be afraid of change. And then the left side of our brain, the logical side of our brain, actually fears anything but what it knows. So we automatically naysay what's coming, even if it's going to be positive for us, right? So especially when we don't know what this is, and people are espousing a lot of negativity and fear.
Right.
So for me, when I was going through that, I kind of shut all that out. I had a download that this was going to happen. And I don't get a lot of world downloads like what I see for the world, but I saw this coming and I was very prepared. I knew a lot of the things that were going to happen, including riots and all this crazy stuff. Martial law, I saw all of that. And I also saw that it would be a time for us to tune in more. So what do you have to say about that?
No,
I don't want to talk the whole time.
No. What I love about what you're going to do here also is that, like I said, removing judgment, replacing it with curiosity. That means telling us, like, helping us understand your gift, helping us understand. A lot of times we talk about things like Mercury retrograde. I don't know what that means,
Right.
but I've heard it a million times. So I do love that aspect of your time here every week. And by the way, she's not just going to be here on Tuesdays for her show. On Friday's show, she'll also be here, hanging out with the Dynamos. So that's kind of the pattern here at Gals, Gays, and Days is people are going to come. You'll meet all of our co-hosts whenever they're on. They're on whenever they're here. I'm just going to hear one of these. I'm like, who's here? Come on in. This is
Well, too, in identifying Angelica, I think a lot of people don't understand that a clairvoyant is not a psychic, or you can be a psychic and not a
Right.
clairvoyant.
or an intuitive.
Can you
but, yeah, I'm a
give
psychic.
us the differential aspects of those gifts?
I would love to talk about that. So an intuitive person is someone that tunes in and knows things, basically, right? But there's different gifts. So claircognizance is mental intuition. I just know that. Clairsentience is I feel it. I feel it in my gut. Claircognizance, I already said that. Clairvoyance is when you visualize and you see a vision of something. And clairaudience is hearing it, right? So when you get the chills, that's clairsentience. When you get I hear a tone, or I hear someone's voice or my voice as a message, clairaudience.
Wait, so are my full body like goosebumps whenever I have an idea I think is really strong?
Clairsentience.
Is that
Clairsentience.
really?
Yes. So I get it right.
When do I start charging? Hey everybody. Hey Dynamo.
Well,
I'll
I
come into
get
your
mine-
house. You tell me your ideas. If I get goosebumps, go with it. If I do not, maybe something else.
Well, you know, like when you get cold and your nipples get hard, that's when I know something's really going to happen. And it's not just necessarily
I've got
like,
nipples, Fokker.
So I don't know
Can
what
you
that
milk
was.
me? One of my favorite quotes.
Oh,
Meet
I
the
don't-
Fokkers.
Meet the Foggers. I don't know what that gift is, but I have that.
You do?
I do. I'm going to say it's clairsentience. I'm feeling the
Clairsentience.
feels.
Feel the feels.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
feeling the feels.
And then
yeah.
a psychic is something different.
Well, I think traditionally a psychic is someone that sees into the future.
Future, right.
And I would consider myself psychic because I do bring things to people, like you
Right,
said, that are
right.
futuristic. But my intention here is to have all of you grow your gifts. Find out what your gifts are. Creative, intuitive, spiritual. And so that you don't feel crazy. I mean, we're all crazy on one level. You just want to pick the people that you like they're crazy,
Exactly.
right? And that's another symptom
love
of an
that.
awakening. You feel like you've lost your mind because you have. Everything that you thought was one way, you realize it shifted. And you have to see it through another lens, another perspective, a higher perspective. Or you suffer and literally feel like, and sometimes people need medication and need medical attention and need therapy when they're going through this kind of an awakening. There's no right way to do it. But one of the things I like to offer is readings and sessions and clearings so that people understand what's happening. Because they're like, I don't know what's happening.
Now, let me ask you, a reading, for example, if you do one here and we're live, and it's not for a particular person, but could you do a reading for today? Could you do
Okay.
it?
Yeah, let's
you
do
tell
it
me
for
what's possible. Okay, let's see
today.
today's reading.
Okay, so we're going to do it for this two.
God, I hope it's
wow,
good.
a card just flew out.
All right,
I
That's
think we
okay.
should see that
Okay,
card.
we are.
That
now I gotta
card
go
wanted
under
to
the
be
table.
seen.
Yes.
Excuse
Oh, I
me,
love how this
I'm going
works.
under the table.
I was in the closet. You were under the table. Everybody's somewhere sometimes in their life.
There's a lot of furniture involved.
Exactly. Speaking of closet, I know you guys saw my interstitial and kind of figure out what that means. At one point on this show down the way, I'm going to tell people how I came out of two closets, because just because you've come out of a closet, it's one of the goals of this show is to understand trauma and understand how that can make you think that you know who you are and you have a strong identity, but maybe you're just faking again. We'll get to more to that later. But first, what card wanted to be known? Oh, hold on. Ladies and
we
gentlemen.
have our little card cam.
I have to reach over here.
Okay.
Ooh, card camera.
Okay.
Wow,
let's make
they're
sure.
very
We are
hot.
so high tech. Actually, we have this one,
I
which
love
is
it.
going to be working eventually.
Okay.
But right now,
So
it does
2,
not.
2, 22.
So we've
Is it
got
on?
the Mother of Pentacles. Okay, so that is the feminine force.
Why it's not working?
Oh my God! After all that,
All right,
We're gonna
maybe it
fix
came
that,
unplugged.
but I'm gonna
oh,
go
I
with-
see exactly. You go ahead and start.
okay, okay. So the first card I got was Mother of Pentacles, and that is the feminine force of abundance, right? And we have male and female energy, all of us. So it's the intuitive. It's the nurturing part of abundance, right? Connecting with your true abundance from your intuition, what you want to create in your life, instead of being like, I'm going to go and boss babe. I'm going to go and work. You know, you're like, wait, so this is what I do. When I really need to create something money-wise or anything, I lay back. I lay on my fabulous little couch and I go, universe, send me this. Just like that. And then I sit around and I'm like, do I need to do anything? Taking an action, right? Because sometimes you have to make a call or a text or whatever. But a lot of times it comes in. So here we go. I chatted till we got the camera
You're
here.
so good. I was just marveling at your ability to fill time until tech catches up.
All right. So wait.
And
we can't see it. Hello.
Oh,
There we
yeah.
go. Okay.
I'm just going to go handheld
All right.
here.
So that's what I want to share. How can you bring more abundance into your life, people, by connecting with your intuition and allowing it to come in and then getting the download of what your action is?
So this reading is channeling abundance.
My favorite card, honey.
Oh.
The la lovers. Okay, so this year is definitely, this is actually the card for the whole year, apparently. This is about the lover within and the lover without. And that means connecting with union within yourself, right? And bringing in more love into your life personally. Higher love versus lower love. So you may be looking at lust versus higher love. How do I transcend some of that energy? Or use lust, sexual energy wisely. Like you can use it for your work. Like we are. We're making it sexy to do our spiritual work here.
That's right.
Right? So I'm channeling all of that right now into this.
So sexy.
Okay. So the lovers is also about aligning yourself with your beloved inside and out, and your male and your female energy connecting. And I love that there's two birds flying, one's flying above and below. And they're like wings, you know, they've got each other, right? One's like a wing person for the other, a wing bird for the other, and they're collaborating.
Can you be your own lover?
Oh, yes. I have all kinds of things I could talk about that. Like the rose wand that I
Still
have, the
handheld.
rose quartz wand that I have. It's my favorite lover. No, it's not my favorite. It's just the one that I have, like, you know, in my drawer.
But they say the best love is for yourself. And if you don't love yourself, you're not inviting any real love in your life. You
Well-
could have distractions. You could
Distortions.
have attention. You could have distortions. You could have diversions. But
Yes.
knowing and loving yourself will invite the right kind of lover. I would
Absolutely.
imagine.
Amen
And
to that.
I
That's
wonderful.
really well
I
said.
wouldn't know. Don't. I'm not.
Hey,
Not
we're all
based on
learning.
experience,
No, we're all
exactly.
learning, right? And when you have an awakening, sometimes the out picture of your beloved, the lover, the relationship that you want really shifts. And that's the time
Yeah.
to open up your heart to yourself, connect with yourself, your true intentions.
Oh,
and
you
love
said a
yourself.
mouthful.
Oh my gosh, Renee Quiche.
Hey, Renee, what's up, girl?
You know her?
Renee.
I love Renee. Hey,
Shout out to Renee.
Are you
She's
ready?
one of
Also,
my
my
besties.
sister's name is Renee.
She's
Shout
one of
out
your
to you,
besties.
Renee. Love you.
Uh-huh.
Wait, hold on. I went to high school with Renee on the East
Shut
Coast.
up.
And we did not know, I never knew that you knew her until this moment when she wrote in the chat, sending love, sweet A.
Aw, thank you, girl.
Oh my God, Renee, I love you.
You're a dynamo now, Renee.
are
Come on
now,
back.
Renee.
Tuesdays and Fridays, 2 to 5.
Renee was a badass bitch in high school.
Oh, she still is,
She
girl.
already knew who she was. Her style was, I was so jealous of her fashion sense. she channeled like Madonna, borderline, like kind
Oh,
of,
yeah.
and then punk rock vibe. Every day at school, she had an outfit, and she owned it.
Isn't that interesting?
love her.
How this is happening, right? Already our community is connecting. You know her.
I had no
And-
idea you knew each other.
And we will pause the whole
Full
show to go to the
backies.
Dynamos. Because like I said, this is for you. Like, this is the show. We're having fun. We're going to do this. We're going to have a great time. But really, at the end of the day, it's all about connecting with the fans and making sure that they know they've got a safe place to come to and a place where they can learn about themselves and be open-minded. This is, for me,
Yes.
like what you do, Angelica, I feel like I'm growing because I'm being open-minded in a way that I was probably really closed off to before because I was such a judgmental person, you know? What is this third card about?
Oh, this third card is the 10 of, I think it's the 10, or the 9 of coins. The 9 of coins. This is abundance. This is a lot of abundance. This is happiness with abundance. Like, I think of the 9 of coins as like all the pleasures, right? All the pleasures in life,
Right.
having the luxury within and without. And like, what is abundance to you? Just like, what is love to you? Really aligning with that. Like having free time to do this, right? Like having the friends around, the connecting with Renee. You know, she and I do in morning intentions every day, pretty much.
Aw.
And that's a big part of what helps me to feel abundant and to co-create these things, right? So it's just one of my favorite cards because it's just like, oh yes, it's all happening. Everything's abundant. And then you have more to share with other people. Okay. So it's in closing, the basic reading is tuning into your intuition, connecting with the nurturing side, allowing things to come in. And I use humor, obviously, but there really is a deep process to allow that to come in. And then the lover, what and whom are you inviting into your life with love?
That's awesome.
And then outcome is luxury, abundance, and new money.
So with this being a reading for today, would you say that this card coming up, the abundance card, because I feel
Oh, yes.
abundant.
I do too.
I feel like so much love. And so, I mean, it makes sense to me. I can't wait to learn more about all this. It's really, it's just so fascinating to me.
So yeah, so how the cards work is like they pick up on the energy, and then I read it. When it's personal, it's very deep. Like if someone got this, I'd be able to give a lot of personal information to them.
Wow.
This is general because it's for everyone. And then I just want to say I'm creating my own deck.
You are.
Yes, with a really good friend of mine, and it's going to be called the Magical Manifesting Deck. It's an oracle deck, and my friend Brenna Butler is doing the wonderful illustrations for that.
Oh,
it's going to
wow.
have the numbers, the triple numbers, and it'll have a symbol and a word and then what it means. So then
So is
that
it
way
a daily, like 365 manifestation, or how many
you
cards?
it's 44 cards,
Oh.
and you just do a reading
it's
like
it's
this.
like a, okay.
Right? To use it for your
Fantastic.
practice, or you can use it with other oracle cards. And then I want to teach and share how people can open up to their own intuition. Cards are great, but really we could walk around and just tune in and just know
I love that you're
exactly.
making your own deck because it's
Yeah.
such a creative
Yeah.
exercise. And I feel like, wow. I mean, imagine your skills, which you can do already with all of these decks, but applied to something that's as personal that's come from you. I mean, maybe
I think that's what's special about Angelica, because it's not just her abilities and gifts. Your tone and your way that you intentionally say every word is like a natural teacher. Don't you feel like you're
Thank you.
your student? I feel like I gain so much knowledge around you, and not every person who has your gifts want to spread that kind of message of you can do this too.
Absolutely.
Empowerment to a person, because we do all have those gifts within us. We just don't know how to tap into them.
You know what? You said that so perfectly, and that's one of the things I love to share. And when we talked, was before all this happened, you went
Right.
through this huge change in your life and transformation, and now you're putting it into the show, and your intuition has grown, and we've have like a natural
Right.
telepathy
It's
that
been
happens.
a lot of goosebump moments. My one kind of intuition, I think, is that sentient, clairsentient. If that's a thing, I've got it, because I know every time something has really been right, the goosebumps that came over me. I don't know, Mariah, if you remember this, but after, this show was inspired by another client that we got, LA Taco Live, that
Right.
was the first one where we were like, oh, we probably could live stream. Yeah, that seems cool. And they inspired us to do this. And when that moment happened, I got goosebumps that went all the way around my back, all the way to my spine, which is really not a common thing. Usually it's just my arms, but when they cover your whole body, it's just a very exciting moment because it makes me feel like, oh, I'm on the right path. Like, you know, trust that instinct. When they say trust your instincts, to me, those are some of my biggest instincts.
Yeah, so in closing, I really want to say to everybody, if you've gone through a lot of trauma or change, an awakening moment in the past few years, you are not alone. And I and this crew really want to support you to know that you're on the right path. And there's moments where we need to be reminded of that. When things are blowing up and we're in pain and we're suffering and we're like, why is this happening? What did I do? Did I do something wrong? And to know that everything is happening for us really is.
And if you want us to address a particular issue or really hit it hard or something that you're facing, throw it in the chat. We'll try to book a guest around it. We'll try to answer your questions. We're really here for you because we're all in this together. That's how we see life. We're in this boat together, and the rising tide lifts all boats. Thank you so much, Angelica. I love you.
I love you.
Rock and roll, rock and roll. And now it's time for another mindful moment. All right. We are back, and we are very excited because in this next block, someone has arrived, and it's another very special guest. She is a self-made, multi-hyphenate expert across a lot of things. She runs a company that she started, way too young, that intimidates the heck out of me. And she has a ton of followers on social media and really is an expert in the space of marketing and branding, which is why we had that funny joke up there. Actually, for any of our viewing, hey, Michelle, right before we get to Kristy, would you mind reading that last mindful moment? Did you just...
Oh.
I just want to make sure that everybody...
It's gone.
Oh, you know what? Here it was. That last mindful moment was, I work at an office where I'm the only gay guy surrounded by straight people. My coworkers treat me like I'm some kind of exotic pet, like my boss will ask me to recommend a trendy restaurant for her to go eat at, or a secretary will ask me to critique her outfit, or the guy in marketing will ask me what it feels like to get fucked up the ass. And I'm like, you work in marketing. You know what it feels like.
Love it.
There's a lot of... Obviously, it's
ladies and
laced
gentlemen,
with humor.
Yes, it is so good for us to laugh at ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to set Kristy McInnis.
Woohoo! Hey, what's up? Hello, everybody.
Hello. Make sure you talk right on that mic.
Oh, yes. Sorry, got to get a little closer over here. How's everybody doing? I'm loving reading all of the things in the chat. I have to say, hands down, Evan was my favorite. Just the okay. I was like, all right, Evan, I love this for us.
Okay, Evan. I love that. Any participation, actually, that takes courage.
It does.
Because even I've been in front of a live chat before where I'm like, oh, are people going to judge me? You know, all this self-doubt rushes in. Why? Don't let any doubt come in. Say whatever you want. We even have a plan for haters. And it's just to love you, really.
Ooh.
Haters need more love.
I like to name my haters like a certain thing. So I feel like we
yeah.
should come up with a name
Oh,
for them.
okay.
I call them
The Dinah Dicks.
Oh, I
Oh, that works.
I like
Oh.
that.
No,
I
Wait,
call-
where's the-
because dicks could be positive, maybe.
yeah, they could.
That's true.
That's post. Well,
What's your hater?
I call them, oh gosh, now I'm blanking. I've called them little trolls before, or the Dementors. Those are like my two favorites.
Dementors I like.
Yeah, so if you guys have a name that you like for like your haters, drop it.
Oh,
Drop
I
it
have
in
an
the chat.
idea. Dynamos, you help us.
Yeah.
What
Yeah. Come
name?
up with
Why
a
don't we
name.
do one of those polls or thing? You know, like
Yeah.
we'll come up with a few choices and then we'll take whatever you vote on. Hey, we got to give. That's really good. Actually, there's part of like psychology. By the way, not a psychologist, not a doctor, not a lawyer, not any of those things. So please know that this is just life experience being shared. I don't say anything from a professional perspective. But and then I said all that and I lost my train of thought. But it is really great to have you here, Kristy. What are you going to be bringing to the show?
So I'm so excited. So a little bit about me. I'm Kristy McInnis. You can go follow me over on Instagram.
There it is.
There it is. Whoop. Follow me down below. I have a marketing agency called KCMConnect. So I'm going to be talking all things marketing, branding. I have listened to so many marketing podcasts. Oh, there's a dog that just came in the studio.
God. She was.
Hello there, furry friend. So we're going to be talking all things marketing, branding, but adding a little bit more spice because so many of those shows are incredibly boring, like a straight snooze fest. So we're going to be talking like up-to-date stories per week, every Tuesday. And
Tuesdays at 2:30.
we're going to see if we connect with the idea or we disconnect. So if we're
I love that.
loving or disliking something.
Right. And I love that also, just the choice to make that the phrase, because think about thumbs up, thumbs down. That's disapproval. That doesn't mean like it didn't connect for me, but I love the idea of using language. And by the way, language is so limited. We're going to talk a lot about that too with labels and things, but it's so nice to give a name to something that isn't judgmental, but is rather just like, it didn't connect for me.
Yeah. And too, I love diving in. Like one of my favorite things to do is like find marketing stories and be like, okay, am I loving this?
Oh,
Was like
yes.
the latest collaboration. Was this a hit? Was this a miss? What are your thoughts? So we're going to be diving
Speaking
into that.
of, that's right. What did you bring us today?
Okay, so starting up, I'm so excited for this. Okay, so we are going to be talking about Bauman and Barbie. They are actually teamed up for a collection and NFT series. Guys, it is major. I'm obsessed. I
Wow.
love all things Barbie, so I'm so here for it. But it's their ready-to-wear collection. It's 50 pieces,
Oh, I saw
and
that.
it's
Amazing.
pink. Oh, yeah, it's major. They actually have partnered with a lot of influencers, too. One of them's Bretman Rock, which, just wait for this. Oh, this whole thing I'm obsessed with. This is like such a
Iconic.
connect for me. Like the hair, the outfit. Oh, yes.
They need to have you be one of the models.
I agree.
You really, this is your vibe from seeing your Instagram and how you market yourself. You have a look, a brand that is so distinctive. And this is, how do you think this came about, or do you know?
I honestly don't know. So I started to look this up because I was wondering about their NFT series. I haven't seen any NFTs yet.
No.
And we want to bring on some NFT experts. So if you guys know of anybody.
There you go. I'm writing that down because
yeah.
I need to know what an NFT
Yeah.
is. I hear about this every day and I'm so confused.
But I don't know if they actually worked with him. It didn't say anything on there that like the post was sponsored. I could be incorrect on that, but I'm pretty sure, Mariah, it didn't say that it was sponsored or anything. I
No.
think that he actually just got the clothes and did a full-blown photo shoot, which I love that. I'm like, that
But with
empowered you
spontaneous,
to
yeah.
like go and do the whole thing. And like the hair, the
This
makeup.
photo
just
like
kills.
shook me. I was like, yes.
Yeah,
I mean-
that was my like favorite photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to give props to Mattel too. This is a company that once upon a time was putting out a female image where the neck and waist like dimensions were the same on their dolls,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
so unrealistic. And it's nice to see these big corporate like giants evolve
Yeah.
to keep up with the time, to progress, because that is so important for feeling included. I mean,
and Barbie.
everyone should get a doll that looks like that.
100%. I love it.
Yeah.
Barbie has literally done so much lately. They partnered with Stony Clover, which is super cute. If you guys ever have seen the Stony Clover stuff, it's like iconic. So essentially, they created all these bags that you can customize. I love this. What's
I'm
up
looking
here
at
right
the.
now.
I'm just.
That's like me after a night out.
That's a good morning
But
when
the
you're
hair
like.
looks
"What
way
happened?"
better than mine would.
This is me after I manifest things.
Exactly. You're drained.
So are these going to be dolls that are available for purchase, or
I
is
don't
just the
know.
fashion is available?
This is
or-
yeah. So this is just their ready-to-wear collection. So it's 50 pieces. I would love to get some of it. It's so freaking expensive, but stunning. I've always been such a huge fan of Barbie. I literally had a Barbie pink birthday. I'm not kidding.
Oh wow!
so I mean,
There.
that's
So,
you.
ladies and
See
gentlemen,
what I
that's an
mean?
expert in branding right there.
That
that is
we
like,
went for it. We went for it.
Did.
that is so
I have
freaking
a question
cute,
since
Kristy.
you're a marketing expert. Do you think it's a lot of these brands who have stood the test of time, they're trying to get a resurgence of their original fans, or not original in Barbie's case, but like the kids who grew up in the 70s to like keep that love going? Like, I'm a boy mom, so let me translate it to Lego. Lego's kind of in that same vein that Barbie is. And
Plenty of
they
girls
are
play with Legos.
really tapping into the adult community. They're doing Lego, like architectural Legos now. Like they're really trying to get
More
their
with the
OG fans when they were kids back in it. So something that we think is just for kids, it doesn't have to be. We can
100%.
forever be kids,
Yeah,
I think.
that's something that I would call that a partial rebrand. So like Dunkin' Donuts did this back in 2019 or
right.
18. I didn't even know what the other logo was because now their logo right now is so distinct. You know exactly
Yes.
what it looks like. There's a lot of brands that do that.
Target
where
did it. Remember when that whole
go
Target
retro.
came out? I mean, that was
yeah.
huge.
But it's hard because like places like Uber did it, and like I believe it was 44% of the audience had no idea what their new logo meant. So I mean, it kind of really depends on like how you do it and why you do it for like repositioning the brand, whether you want to do a partial rebrand or a full rebrand.
Why would people do a rebrand? Like what? Like for someone that's thinking
To remind
about
people
this.
they're there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's good.
Like
To
a
be-
refresh.
To be relevant.
Right.
I literally
But
have a
it
list.
backfires.
Oh, you
Okay,
do?
I would love to hear.
New locations.
Talking to that mic, Kristy.
New locations, market repositioning, new philosophy, mergers and acquisitions, covering up a crisis, impact and ego, and looking for attention. So like Facebook, they're playing the long game right now.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And them repositioning to meta. At first, everyone's like, what the heck? No one's going to call it that. But for the long game and everything that it's transitioning to, I think it makes a lot of sense. And Facebook is known for like stealing your data. Like, I mean, there's like so much
Reputation.
that people do it for.
I think that new philosophy is big because right now, you know, there's so much inclusion talking in corporations and things like that, where they literally have to come up with a new mindset and a new mantra, a new, a whole, and so they probably feel stigmatized by a name that's given them a lot of money, but they're trying to break free a little bit.
Yeah.
I imagine, I mean, speaking of, you would, I don't know, I mean, like, again, I'm like, kind of like the dude of the women here. But
No, you
today,
are not.
I've been texting a lot the Washington Redskins, which then became the Washington, and now they're the Commanders. Today, they released the...
What?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
It is...
That's
I have not
crazy.
independently
It
confirmed
is-
that story.
So all my...
Just so
That'll
you know.
be like brought into the next show. We'll be like, hey, do we connect with that or just...
So yeah, if you want to look it up and put it up, but all my East Coast friends were all weighing in.
Rebranding.
But you
Yeah,
know,
I kinda like
NFL's
that.
big. Look at this, the Washington Commanders. Talk about a company in crisis, a name in crisis. You know
Yeah.
that their name was famous, but it was with a derogatory
Yeah.
name, the Redskins. But we're all so attached to it. I grew up with the Redskins. I'm obsessed with them, not the name.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a lot about
So
why
that was
matters
huge.
on the show. Why inclusion is important. Why
But
listening.
Commanders. What does Commanders
I
say?
don't-
I feel like
Identity
Commander
is
isn't
important.
great either. Like,
Right.
I'd love to chat about...
I don't mind Commander.
I
It
don't
seems
know.
commanding.
They're like,
Yeah,
They're
it kinda
football
feels
players.
like-
They got to
But
go
a
command the
commander
field.
in the military, it almost has
Yeah,
another
military.
historical negative
That's- I know, I'm like,
connotation.
It's
all right.
basically I'm in charge, bitches.
Yeah, well, also, did we have a focus
Oh my
group
gosh!
on
Did you
this?
whip together an asset that
Yeah,
fast?
she's like, we
I
are
freaking love
killing
this girl.
the Commanders.
Honestly,
What
there you
a-
go, folks.
What a moment
There's-
in time.
So yeah, that's released today, and so from Barbie crushing it and getting it 100% on the mark,
Yeah.
we're going to another shift, I think, where there's going to be a lot of hype about this.
Yeah.
Negative and
Negative and positive. I'll be
I mean,
curious.
please tell me they tested this name. I mean, please tell me they didn't just go with it because some guy with power, some lady was like, "Hey, Commander." And how about the
let us
commando
know what you guys
jokes?
think of
You
commanders.
think the
in the
commanders go
chat.
commando?
They might.
Not on the
Ooh,
field.
streaky.
Not if they want to have kids in the
What does
future.
that
'cause you will
mean?
Smash
The
those nuggets.
commandos. They'll be the commandos,
commandos.
like the dominoes, and everybody will streak at tailgating parties.
Hey, I might finally be a fan of football then. All right.
Hey, we could call our haters commandos.
By the way,
go.
I pushed the applause button for myself because I love myself. Y'all, everyone
He's like,
should.
I'm funny.
Exactly.
In case
I am
you
funny.
were
I embrace
unaware,
that.
I am very funny.
All right. I know you've got more for us, so let's get to the next story.
We are going to story number 2. So this one is actually with Zara. And Zara continues with brand repositioning with a New York City ballet collaboration.
Wow.
Which is super interesting. I, at first, was like, all right, what exactly are they going? I was confused. Number one, are they doing a collaboration? And it wasn't like clear. So I literally had to read like multiple articles. They're doing a collaboration with the New York City Ballet to create a line for spring, summer 22. Yeah, I mean, what was interesting is after doing digging, they kind of already did this in 2019. And I don't know if maybe it wasn't like...
Wait, the same collaboration with the New York City Ballet?
No, but they had a ballet collaboration.
Huh.
So I don't know if maybe it
guess
was
it
really
didn't go great.
successful.
They wanna do it again.
It didn't. And they were like, hey, someone in marketing was like, I'm really stuck on this idea. We're gonna redo this.
This just
I can
tells
do
me,
this
like,
better.
the COO was a ballerina back in the day,
Yeah.
and they're just really trying to get it right.
Yeah, and I watched, what is
Because they're
it?
so attached to it.
I watched this girl's YouTube video where she did an entire haul. I watched like all 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Oh, is this the line?
Yeah, she
Oh,
is
wow.
So
adorable.
cute.
I'm
She is
obsessed
adorable.
with her.
We love her,
But,
yeah.
But the clothes, I watched like each individual clothes, and personally, I have a big problem with Zara's sizing simply because it's not made for a lot of curvy people.
No.
Whether you've got a curvy bust, backside, but loved the girl in the YouTube video. She's like a New York City influencer.
She's so cute.
I'm literally gonna message her on Insta and be like, loved the haul.
It is really cute. I mean, who doesn't
Not
want to
for
feel
everyone.
fuzzy down below?
I
That looked like a lot of comfort.
That is a Swan Lake moment. right
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's
full
very-
on.
And I do see the connection with the ballet. Like I love when artists do this. Like when companies like seek out an artistic sort of inspiration and go for it. I will say fast fashion has a lot of downsides, which we probably will end up talking about at some point.
For
I don't know a ton about that, but it's the kind of topic that we would talk about here,
That's
and
why
I bring an expert in on.
That's
Exactly.
why collabs are fun. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
in the
well,
sneakerhead
yes.
world, like that's so. I'm sure you know all about when a designer.
But we don't want small
takes
children in
Nike.
Cambodia making those ballet-inspired skirts
See,
for
I know.
Zara.
Yeah,
It's
Kristy,
very
I
I mean,
hard
unless
to
they're getting
take-
paid well for it.
I disconnect.
It's not
I
a
disconnect.
hit for me.
I
This
disconnect.
Is a disconnect. When
There
I
you
saw
go.
the ready-to-wear collection, I was like, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Here.
It doesn't
what do you
feel
guys
like
designer
Zara
for
either.
Off-White, who just passed away. The designer
Oh,
Virgil.
Virgil.
Yeah. So he did Off-White with Nike, and then as soon as he passed, like they were already incredibly expensive, like on StockX. So it kind of brings a whole new. I mean, my son, just on the inside, my son bought a pair a few years ago.
Really?
They're worth $3,000.
What?
Wow.
Wait, pause or
Crazy.
soul? In which closet? Because
He's like, wait a second.
Daddy's got to
so-
pay the bills.
He's like, so we're gonna have like a dinner all together. And
I know.
I'm
I'm like,
figure out which
so are we
bedroom."
selling these? He's like, I bought it with my birthday bunny. Back off, and I'm like,
Oh my god.
yeah.
Just
so-
hold on to them. Don't wear them, right?
Yeah.
Stick 'em
Someday,
up.
yeah.
They'll be worth
Totally.
Yeah.
10,000 next year.
But some are make the mark, and some don't. But I'm all for collabs. They don't always land.
Yeah.
But it does make it interesting. And
Sure.
you think like there's room at the table, right? Like Nike's like, I'm doing this. But then when you see them do something with another designer, it's cool to me. I like it.
yeah.
A partnership.
I do too. I just think it's fun.
It
and it's
doesn't
fun
always work,
It's
but-
like when you take an old song that's sampled in a new song,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
kind of like that song right now with Dua Lipa and Elton
Yes.
John. That's such an
They
earworm.
mixed
I
it.
love it. And that's like a collaboration, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, that is exactly what a collaboration is, JD. Good job.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so I was speaking of collaborations. Gosh, okay. Tom Ford I just watched this they had like a huge promotion. It was on Netflix. Anybody watch this where it was like a major designer and he actually brought in Tom Ford? And I'm like blanking on the designer's name. And that's how Tom Ford got famous.
Really?
Oh,
And
wow.
I need to look it up. But anyway, it was.
So it's a documentary about it?
It was kind of like they did it like it was like a real show, or like real times. But it was on Netflix. I think it was like 10 episodes. And it was so good. I'm gonna find out the name for you guys. I can't remember.
You know what? Let's
it
just
is.
hey, Mr. Ford, if you're out there watching and you become a dynamo, we would love to have you on the show.
Yeah, hey Tom.
I'm putting it out there.
I'm sure you're not busy, but
Yeah.
if you could like clear a morning, that'd be
That's
ideal.
gonna happen. You'll see. One day Tom Ford will be on Gals, Gays, and Days, and everyone will be like, "It was amazing."
So I have a question. In the spirit of cooperation, collaboration, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, collab is like the word, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel makes a great cooperation in marketing? Speaking of this,
It solely depends on who the people are. And I think like bringing in their backstories, I know a lot of influencers who create collaborations with brands and they literally like sign the document and they haven't even seen anything. Or they've just seen pictures versus actually creating the product. There's a lot. I mean, like I loved the Barbie collaboration because they brought elements of both of the people and they're super distinct, super recognizable. Like that hot pink, like that's so Barbie. So I think it's bringing in bringing in an element from each person, 2 elements, and then seeing how you can work them together. That's the most effective.
God, your
Yeah.
instincts
And
for
that
marketing
font.
are so strong. Like
Yeah.
just those words, like it's distinct. Like even in your way of describing it, you're teaching us what matters in marketing. Like you want something that's going to stand out. You want something that's going to make a splash. But there's also that balance in collaborations of not, being cheesy or look at being tone deaf when someone like Kendall Jenner or whatever does a Pepsi ad, and it's just not that collaboration. Kind of went south fast because there was people weren't thinking hard
Someone
enough about
asked,
the
was it
implications.
Halston?
Yes,
Okay.
it was Halston.
Yay,
Thank
shout
you
out to
so
Rachel.
much.
The-
I'm obsessed.
The dynamos always come through.
We need to have snaps.
love it.
Let's do snaps
Yeah.
when our chats
Oh, we're going to
work.
put a
I love
snap.
it.
By the way, if
Yeah.
you guys see me right on this card here, it's things that pop up that I want to add to our little, dance party, button here.
Should we jump into story number 3?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say that this is marketing simply because, well, it's Rihanna. And number 2, she is pregnant.
She
And-
certainly is.
She is pregnant. They actually used a paparazzi for these photos, and I was like dying at these simply because. So when they released
That's
them,
so-
it wasn't snowing. It was snowing.
I don't
like
think she's
the-
pregnant, right? She had her baby now. Didn't she just have it? I just heard that on.
She just released.
She just
just
released.
released.
She's pregnant.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. That's what it
So
was.
These
That's what
were.
it was.
These are. This is where it gets me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it is when they must have taken these because when they were out, it was a full-blown snowstorm in
This was
New
just
York.
a flurry.
This was like a little bit, so they think it was taken like the weekend before, and she used paparazzi to do it. My part that I can't get over, I kept bringing this up. I said it to so many people.
No.
Is she or is she not wearing shoes?
I thought she had toilet paper under her foot.
No,
And she was
so-
dragging it from the bathroom.
And you can see the
It does
frost.
kind of look like that.
It does.
You
Look,
know that everyone's going to be doing this in a week.
I think
Yes.
that's her
In
toe.
30-degree weather.
That's for sure her toe.
You could see her toe, her toe with paint on it.
So I'm just like, okay, are you wearing shoes or not? Because it's 35 degrees when they suspect that this was taken. And I'm just like it's also frosty on the ground.
She's just
You bring us
invincible.
the stories that matter. I'm just going to put it out there.
That one was solely for me because I've been sending it
It
to
was too
everyone.
funny.
Okay, I need everyone to vote. Is she or is she not wearing shoes?
There we go. Question number 2. Question number 1 for our dynamos is what should we call the haters that eventually will be in the chat? And question number 2 is, was Rihanna wearing shoes in that pregnancy paparazzi photo shoot?
Yeah, I
Also, there
like-
was the messaging of she's wearing a pink jacket, he's wearing a blue jacket. So a lot of people were like, are they having twins?
They're
or
right
are
to read the
they-
tea leaves.
Are they saying, ooh, is it a boy or a girl? Or that we know? But
Oh, that is so
I
observant.
love
I don't
that.
even have
Really
caught
good.
that.
Yeah. I think it's so cute. And too, people do such like over the top like pregnancy announcements because you're announcing a new part of your life. You're rebranding in a sense. And I think I loved that theirs was very casual. Like she literally had a paparazzi. Could she have done $1 million production? Totally.
Right.
But she decided, she's like, you know what? We're walking. I'm saying barefoot. We're walking barefoot. And
Pregnant and barefoot. That's
pregnant barefoot. Honestly,
Oh, that's true. Maybe
her.
that's the thing. That's the phrase, right?
Yeah, maybe she was like, you know what? Shoes aren't me. Like, they're not happening today. And I love that for you, Rihanna.
Wait, where does that
Ever
phrase
watched-
come from?
Queen.
What does that mean, pregnant and barefoot?
barefoot and pregnant. It's kind of like
Is that a motto?
it was.
Is
I've
it because
heard
your
it.
ankles
sort
swell?
of like your mom.
Is
you
it like
need to
some
be at home
disparaging
doing that.
50s
Yeah.
thing?
It's a
Oh, okay.
disparaging women.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
need
Not
to
cool
be
then.
barefoot and
Christy, I think we
pregnant.
got Brian in the chat.
Oh.
Love that. Ooh.
What is our dynamo
He has some
dynamic?
answers for us
Okay.
in there.
Oh yeah, so he loves the little shrews. That's what we call when I get little people.
Little
like,
shrews.
That
All
are
right,
like a
I
shrew.
see.
It's
The
such like a
shrews.
cute
Yes.
shrew.
Oh, that conjures such an image, doesn't?
It does.
It
I
does.
love
It
it.
makes
Oh,
you
shrew.
feel something.
Mhm.
Yes.
True. He said yes to the shoes, and
Oh, she was wearing
Oh,
shoes.
Thank
slides
you.
or
Slides.
sandals.
wow, slides. Okay,
Slides.
they could have been. And
Totally,
they
your toes come out of slides.
Slide.
And
I
number
mean, she
3,
wasn't walking around like the streets of New York barefoot.
Someone was probably packing
That seems
her.
Yeah.
very dangerous. Although the
Aesop
pants were
Rocky.
long enough to kind of step on, I
I
think.
don't know that one. So those were my three. Those are my three stories of the day. So
Just
we're-
giving them a taste.
Yeah, just giving
them a taste.
So we're
So
thinking
much to
like
come.
every episode we'll come up with three kind of like hot, fun marketing things that are happening, or just bringing in something like Rihanna because I find it fun. And
But that
just
was
chatting about
marketing.
it.
It was totally
Totally.
intentional.
It's all
She tried to
intentional.
be all
Right.
streetwear about it. That was intentional.
And
She
all the
hired that was a
jewels.
professional photographer.
Wherever that
Maybe
pink
it was a paparazzi,
jumper
but that
sold,
was a
it sold out.
professional photographer.
Absolutely.
It was sent out days
Worldwide.
maybe
Oh, yeah,
after
right,
it was
right.
taken. She just tried to make it look super hip and like she was
Yeah.
caught by camera.
I
But
wonder how many people, this is what I would die to see, how many people were actually standing around them? Probably like 40. Because there was probably like hair and makeup team.
There's
There was
always an
probably-
entourage, right?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Like everyone's
Oh,
like
sure.
waiting. Oh, you know, I love it. But
It's juicy. Anything
But I love
Rihanna
it.
does, I'm here
so
for
fun.
it.
I
Aw.
love Rihanna and I love ASAP too. They're
I
both
do
just
too.
great.
Yeah, they're so
Yeah, I
fun.
love both of them.
I mean, and aren't we so excited that she's got where her life is? I mean, considering some
Yeah.
of the, I mean, she's got one of the best reputations I would say out there. Like,
Yeah.
because she's so authentic.
Yeah.
Everything that she's ever done seems so genuine. And you know, just like the rest of us, she's had ups and downs in her personal life, and just like the rest of us, everybody in the world knows about it.
Yeah.
But she bounced back, and maybe she had an awakening, right? Maybe she, maybe.
I was hoping to be related to Rihanna.
you're like, I'm really
No, for real.
disappointed after
My
my
cousin,
23andMe.
you know Casey, he was a love interest in her, like one of her very first music videos, and they were
Shut
vibing.
up.
Remember that song? If it's loving that you want, I could be,
I'd be
your girl.
Yes.
He's in that video
Yes,
as
he
her love
was.
interest.
Pull it up,
We gotta get him in here. We gotta
Mariah
get
Khorasani. And shirtless. It's at the beach, and
This is Casey.
yeah.
Wow.
and,
You want to
know,
see Casey
she-
shirtless, folks.
She had done
What's
not a
the
bad
song
thing.
called?
already.
Yeah.
That was her next song that they made more reggae, you know.
Wasn't that her Bring It On moment too, where she was in Bring It On and they
And she
did
was
like,
like,
a full.
oh, yeah.
did-
It was
yeah, they did the
very,
full
on.
it's so different. I'm sure
Right,
she's
right,
like
right.
mortified by that video now. But
It's all
she
part of
was
your
on
journey.
the come up, and I was like,
What's the song called?
if it's loving that you want, I could make me, you could make
I
me
can sing
your
it for you,
girl.
but
Okay,
Sing it,
we don't
sing
have
it.
the rights to that
Copyright.
song, so
Copyright.
do 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 do.
JD is like, excuse me, we're gonna knock
Exactly.
this off.
That's just more
Anyway,
post production we
coulda,
gotta go
shoulda,
through.
woulda.
Yeah.
Oh well, Christy, welcome to the show. Welcome to
Thank
Gals,
you,
Gays, and
guys.
Days.
I'm so
Whoop,
excited.
whoop.
It's
Oh,
gonna
I
be so
love
fun.
it.
And
Yes.
oh, by the way, on that spectrum, because we're trying to be honest and clear with everybody, where do you identify? You're the gal, obviously.
I am a gal. I am the gal. But we had started too. We made like a little intro that we put out. That was kind of like the 1950s housewife, and
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't run your inner
Oh
social
my
media.
gosh.
But I
Do
want to
it.
chat
Mistake
about
number
it.
2, folks.
Yeah.
Don't let perfection be the
Do you
enemy of
want
fabulous.
to chat? Or do
Let's
you want me to
no.
wanna
I
see
just
it.
want to let's let the audience see it. They need now. They know.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what's perfect is this is a good transition moment. And this. Do you have anything else you want to say? Because right after this, I'm going to bring another special guest in that
Okay.
no one even knows about yet.
I'll talk about why we did it this way. So
Okay,
my
perfect.
idea for this was essentially a lot of women were said to be like in the kitchen, and it was very taboo for me to start, number one, a marketing company, and I'm not a male. And how many like rooms I've been in when people are like, I don't quite get this, and it's like older 40-plus-year-old men. And so we were like, hey, a lot of people are like, a woman's role is in the kitchen. And really now you can do whatever the hell you want to.
100%.
And a lot of it's from your phone. There's so many jobs today that are from your phone and from, because I work in marketing, I was like, okay, let's do kind of a fun play twist on that. And so, yeah, that was kind of like our reason behind it was really showing up in a different way that's unexpected. So, but I am a gal of the group.
Roll tape, Mariah.
Life goes up and it goes down. I know my mom taught me that. I figured why we fool around so little, and we keep track of time, being so serious, idiots, thinking it will matter, keep me company downtown. Before the clock runs out, all things must pass. But I'm not gonna wake up, wake up. I'm not ready, let me have another day. Don't wake up, wake up. Keep it steady, cause I'm happy, I'm not gonna wait.
DeMarcus can
KCM. Hello.
Woohoo.
Oh, this is so exciting.
I'm so excited.
This is going to get emotional
Oh, wait,
for
do your
me.
little ding dong.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, boom.
Someone has joined us. Someone very special has joined us. This is a surprise for everybody. Didn't know this was going to happen until just not too long ago. My supportive, beautiful, amazing creator, Anita Heldreth, has joined us. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my mother.
Oh, thank you, son.
Yay. Oh,
So beautiful.
Mom, I love you so much. Thank you for. So you guys have to understand that, like so many LGBTQ people, you know, way back in the day, we were terrified, you were scared, and you didn't know how your parents were going to react. And I know some people struggle because the parents never bounce back, and we hope to help you here. But for a lot of us who are the parents, we're there and we're supportive, is probably the foundation of our lives. And the unconditional love of this woman is what has gotten me through 45 years of life. And I just am so proud of you for being here and supporting this, Mom. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
I love it so much.
cute.
And this takes us right into our next segment. Without further ado, DeMarcus, will you help me lift up my skirt? Just come over here and lift it up. Lift it up nice and high. Lift it up. There you go. Show the audience at home. Can they see the edge of the skirt maybe? Let's see. Higher, higher. No, I guess they can't. Doesn't matter. Will you take the red bag and give it to Angelica, the silver bag and give it to Kristy, the blue bag and give it to yourself,
I'll show him.
the yellow bag and
There
give
we
it
go.
to
Now I
Michelle,
can
gosh,
see you
how
with
and
my skirts.
the flowery one is for my mom.
God, thank you.
Yay!
This is so cute.
Gifts. Oh, I have a song for this. What is the song? Was it Dance Party? Okay.
No. The rainbow gift one.
Rain. Yellow is for Michelle.
Thank you.
I mean, they're all the same.
How
I just
cute. Someone's like, love you, Grandma.
and the cards. There's cards in there, and that's the blue one for you. That one's for my mom, the pink one. All right. DeMarcus, squeeze in next to my mom there because we're only going to be able to hear you if you're next to her sharing that mic. Everybody loves gifts. Mariah and I already opened ours.
Oh, thank you so much,
Cute.
JG.
Thank you
Let's
guys so
do
much.
this. Let's do this with some music. I love it with
Okay,
some
let's do
music.
it.
We're gonna play this one. Open your gifts. Bring them into your life. Feel it. Feel the love.
Oh my gosh.
What am I doing?
These are hilarious.
I am narrating. Mariah
Look at this.
can model gift number one for the
Okay,
ladies,
yes,
for
model.
everybody. Some
Oh, I
hair.
saw you that-
Yes,
that
she's
earlier.
got her. She's got her rainbow hair in. Oh, your little hat.
Little hat.
We love little hats.
Fun.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, I
Yay.
love this one. This one's so cute.
Yes.
My rainbow hair.
Little mini hat.
Our little
Let's see.
mask.
Love a mini hat.
Okay, hold on a second. All the flags.
I know.
We're
I
gonna
love
use the
all the flags. They're
flags.
so cute. There's so much
flags.
in here.
Because
Yes.
we're going to be talking about these flags in a second because
I
we
love
love
the
to
boa.
educate here as well.
Oh my
And I
God,
tell
a
you, I
ring
learned a
pop.
ton I did not know in
My
research for that.
favorite ring pops.
Love. I haven't had
Right
these in a hot
now.
minute. Love the pink.
It's fabulous.
Yay! You know, I picked those colors out with some certain
Yes,
intention
you
in
did.
mind.
I got
So
an amethyst
Yes. Ray
Yay!
Yeah.
DeMarcus.
on.
DeMarcus got. Hey, for those that don't know, I spent a decade of my life working at CNN in the entertainment division unit. Shout out to all my CNN people who I know are supporting me today. And Larry King famously wore different suspenders on every single day, and then he would give the suspenders to the guest or whoever wanted it. So DeMarcus, he got his pride suspenders.
I love it.
Be sure to wear those out proud. There you go. Because even allies can support with the rainbow colors. The intention behind this moment is just to have fun, folks. It is so important that we don't take ourselves too seriously. I also want to see how many people choose to put on the little hat. I don't know if anybody will.
I don't know if we can with the headphones.
DeMarcus.
The headphones might make it
You
a
can
little
just
hard.
stick it right there.
Sit right here.
It's a tiny hat. It's a little tiny hat. Where are we in this show, Mariah?
We need to talk more about your mom.
All right, I'm going to turn this music off. That's right. We can talk to Mom for a second.
Yeah, we didn't.
That would be good.
We
By
got
the way,
time.
if
We
you
got
think
time.
that you were nervous coming in today, I know my mom is probably, she's a very reserved, private woman, but everybody that meets her loves her, and you're my favorite person on my planet. You're the reason for everything. I love you so much. And look who's next to you. Do you want to introduce my daughter? This is my favorite bitch. My favorite bitch in the whole wide world. And I say that with love. So let me ask you one question, Mom. What, if anything, would you hope for us, and what we're trying to do is reach out to our community and make sure there's a safe place for us to ask questions, be ourselves, feel like we belong. But what do you hope that we get out of this show? And talking to that microphone there, nice and close.
Unconditional love, like you said.
Aw.
That's what I want for everyone. Because love is so conditional with most people. You have to behave a certain way, and they'll love you. If you don't, and they don't. So it
That's
would
so
be
true.
Unconditional love.
Love is love, and that love can be unconditional. And I think one of the best people to have unconditional love for, besides your mother and your family, is yourself. Like, really love yourself. That business that RuPaul says at the end of RuPaul's Drag Race, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love somebody else? Couldn't be more true. Like, it is just a true thing. And you will be surprised at how much little T traumas that go unacknowledged in life can lead you to not loving yourself. Everybody got their rings? Yeah, you already, Angelica's already got it on.
So I thought of something. What if we went around
Mhm.
and said something that we actually love or like about ourselves? Is anybody up
I-
for that?
I love that. I love that.
We
When
should-
you do it home too, Dynamos.
Okay, yeah.
Tell us in the chat what you love about yourself.
We should do on another episode once everybody knows each other better. I love to do this at birthdays, and I think that this is sounds kind of weird, but I feel like not a lot of people hear from other people what others think of them in a really positive sense. I think once we all get to know each other better, I don't know, in next season or whatever it is, we could all
It's not going to take us a full season to get to know each other.
but to really deep dive into everybody, we can pick a person, and then everyone can go around per episode and say what we love about them.
Yeah, and it's not always easy to take a compliment, right?
Yes.
Sometimes and even saying something about ourselves, we're taught that that's egotistical.
But you just said we should all go around and say something nice about ourselves.
Yeah.
And you
say
know
something
yourself,
that
Kristy.
you love about yourself.
You're
Unless
acquainted.
you don't know yourself.
We're acquainted. We hang out every once in a while.
All right, I will start because someone's got to. And I would say that something I like about myself is that I have a great sense of humor. I love making people laugh. It is probably the greatest joy in my life. And I don't always hit it out. I spend a lot of time with my foot in my mouth. But, what is it? Who was Babe Ruth? He had the most home runs ever, and is acclaimed for that. But he also had the most strikeouts. Fun fact. So what do you love about yourself, Kristy?
Ooh, there's a few things. I love that I like to make people feel included. Like if I'm in a big group with people, I'll make it a point to say hi to everybody. Just to even see a friendly face. Sometimes that's really helpful. And I know in group settings, people at any age can feel so uncomfortable. So I love that about myself.
You do make people feel included.
Thank you. I like that I'm positive in a lot of negative situations. I feel like I have a pretty positive outlook, sometimes to a fault. And I love that I'm hardworking.
Aw.
I love
Yay.
I love that too.
I love that I am determined and tenacious. I do not give up. No matter how hard I want to, and I might complain about it, but I don't give up. I also love that I connect with other people authentically and deeply. And often you'll find me at a party, sitting on a couch
Just
with my new
connecting.
best friend. Right?
I love that.
So I want to bring that to everybody here. Is that connection mirroring and reflecting what you were saying too, right? So those are two things.
I love it.
love it.
about myself.
Michelle. It's hard, huh?
yeah.
It
This is,
is.
you know how, this moment, this is something that we'll come back to, because what a goal in a month for us to say, Michelle, what's something you love about yourself? And you just go.
Okay, so I tried to think about it because I don't like to think about myself too much.
But we're changing that.
What I love about myself is that I tried to think about what I love the most, and I love animals. I treat them as equal creatures on this planet, and I think I love that most about myself.
I love that. I didn't know that about you.
Well,
But it means-
I've been a vegetarian since I'm 16.
Yes, I did
Not
know
for
that
health
about you.
reasons, but for it
For the
really
love of all
hit me
creatures.
one day. My epiphany, I guess you could say, if there was a enlightenment moment. But animals speak to me. I speak to them. I feel very connected to animals, and I would love to do nothing more than to spread awareness for
You may
that.
end up like, TV's original
Treatment.
Robin, who we had on as a guest on Friends Some and Then Some, who has a whole animal sanctuary and shelter for big dogs. You might have in your future something like a rescue, no? You're like, I don't know if I love
It's more that's more micro, I think. I mean,
I see.
I just want to spread more of an awareness. I think I can't remember who said it, but it is like our biggest stain on humanity, how we treat animals.
Yeah.
And I want to, so maybe a more broader scope. I feel like if I had a shelter for dogs, that it would just be so much about dogs and day-to-day keeping dogs alive.
You're a
or-
protector.
and I would be attached,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole point would be to foster dogs so they'd find a home, and I would not ever let any of them leave. So I'd probably have like 300 dogs, but I'd be a horrible shelter. Let's just say that.
That's the hoarder of dogs.
I would
lady.
be.
That's like my
It
mom.
would just not work for me. I think it would defeat its purpose. So
Lover of animals.
lover of animals. is-
Mom, what do you love about yourself?
Oh, my teeth.
She's like,
You
love.
should. You paid enough for them.
Anita would be
Cheese and crackers. That's
physical.
awesome. I did not know
She's
what you were
in
going to
the
say.
Physical world, isn't she?
No, I guess I love trying to be. I think I try really hard to be kind.
Yes, you do.
You know,
It's probably the number one thing you're known
enjoy
for.
doing it.
Oh, I love you so much.
You are kind.
It's true. We need an
Angel
aw.
energy.
I'm writing that down too.
That's so cute.
DeMarcus, pull the
DeMarcus,
mic over.
listen. Yeah, yes.
This is hard because I love. Well, I guess I just found something. Wow, I love the fact that I love helping people.
See, that's what I
Yep.
mean. What do you,
You know?
when you out there,
Mm-hmm.
since you're hearing us being vulnerable, because obviously this was very uncomfortable for all of us in a certain way, like
I was
feeling
fine with
like
it.
like you said, Angelica, like it's like, oh, it's not ego based. But if you think about what you love the most, then that should really be what you love about yourself the most.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good way of
Turn it-
looking at
That's
it.
a
Yeah.
way to
Looking
look.
in the
What do you
mirror.
love? What do you love?
What do
Right.
you love
And then what does that say
about you?
Well, it just brings me joy to see other people happy,
And it's so
and to
true.
make them laugh. Like
It's
like
so true.
Yes.
When DeMarcus showed up at your 50th looking all stylish and amazing.
Okay, can I,
mean,
just tell you, my dad won't stop talking about you. He thinks you guys are BFFs. You made a connection with my dad at my 50th birthday party. You and I had met a few times before. He thought we were best friends.
isn't that crazy?
love that.
And
That's
so he wanted to have this long conversation about DeMarcus, and he wanted to take a deep dive into his personal life. And I was like, Dad, I literally have known him. Maybe I've met him 3 times. I adore him, but I couldn't believe how he thought we were so tight.
and we probably talked for 15 minutes.
probably because
Dad.
of the kind things you said about
He was
Michelle.
so funny though.
Right.
He is.
These stories that he was so funny, and I'm like,
Yeah,
wow.
he's a hoot.
Now we have one more important person here, Miss Mariah. Mariah. By the way, Mom, if you thought it was hard for you to give
We
yourself a
haven't seen
compliment,
Mariah.
this ought to be interesting.
We need to see
We need
Mariah's
to see
intro.
you, Mariah.
I don't have
There
it.
she is.
I don't have an intro.
She's on screen.
But where's your? Oh, there you are. You're up.
See,
Do you
that's
know
Mariah's
it's been pulling teeth to get
intentional.
Like getting
It's
her on
intentional,
camera
yeah.
has been the win of the century.
I love that
Yeah.
you're like above us. Like
I know, I do too.
You're the control
She's in
area
charge.
of the
Keep
sky.
us behind the curtain.
I'm trying.
Is.
Where's your boa, Mariah?
It's attached to the.
Oh, it's
it's
decor.
my decor.
So what do you love about yourself, Mariah?
It's also very hard for me. I think my empathy, I feel like that's kind of maybe broad, but my empathy is very intense on a very deep level. And I think also to a fault that it controls me. Yeah, it's taken over. But my ability to listen, I feel like I'm a really good listener. I love anyone, people I know, people I don't. I just like to sit and listen and be kind of that ear for
Observer.
people. And I think my
Yes.
empathy kind of comes into that because I like to take negative energy from other people. I like to help lift that negativity from other people and just try to like DeMarcus saying, make people happy and stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that. I don't have an aw, but here's a. Oh,
Yeah.
didn't work.
Angelica,
Good
what is
job.
that for empaths right now in the world we're living in? On the real, like it's hard. I have indigo kids, and I think Mariah, you were an indigo. It's hard out there for any empaths because they not only feel their sadness, but they feel the impact of the world in general and whoever's in their sphere. How can you help empaths?
Well, I'm
right
glad
now?
you brought that up because that's one of the biggest things I think right now is people that weren't empathic before in their transformation are being really sensitive. They're feeling all the feels. One of the things is deep breathing, right? And then asking yourself, is this me? Right? And it's like when you're feeling something weird, is this me? Or is it that person that just walked by and they squirted all their negativity at me? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or like they said something really like sarcastic and stinging to me. And then I felt all this energy in my solar plexus, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do about it is first source it. Was this me?
Source it.
And then also, what is this mirroring and reflecting, right? Am I passive aggressive sometimes? Maybe.
Was that me?
Super passive aggressive. It must be me. Oh no, it's really you. But for children, they're even more open, right?
Oof, I feel for children right now.
And learning how to connect with the earth and ground and breathe and find their own center of who they are, right? Who are you?
That's why our connector, Octavia,
yes.
she's such a queen because she's helping children really connect with their gifts and help them
big
through this
deal.
hard time. She has a yoga meditation studio for kids called Outside the Box.
Oh my gosh,
But
that's so
it's,
cool.
It's not
Yes.
just. It's not just she has
She has a thing called
roving
flow.
other locations, but yeah, my kids went to Flow, and they, the duality of a human being right now. But for kids to learn how to decipher what's me and what's the world around me, and being that it's such a negative place right now. I feel
a
for you,
mirror.
Mariah.
Yeah, and
Thank you.
and
You feel
Mariah,
all the feels.
I
you're
really do.
like a
I really do.
pacifier. Like when I'm around you, you're like a blankie, like a
Yes,
fluffy
a weighted blanket.
Yes. A
She's
weighted crystal
a-
blankie.
Yes,
with
a
fluff.
weighted crystal blanket.
I just love you so much.
I'm gonna cry.
I love it. Like she's loving this attention too. We're gonna get you to a place where you're like in your
Comfortable.
light,
See, I
all in
a
your
part,
light.
Yeah, a part of me loves the attention.
I know you do.
can't lie.
Let's not lie.
look
She's
at
a
her
dancer,
smiling back
a
there.
performer. She's got a lot of
You know.
talents hidden. And we're going to get to all those. Hey, you guys, this has been really cool. There's one gift that you guys just pulled out that if you want to grab those flags after this next mindful moment, we're going to come back with a little bit of an educational
pick my
segment. And you guys will know we're going to start. There's a lot of history here. There's a lot to the culture in the gay community and in the marginalized communities. But we will be right back after this mindful moment. And we are back. And Shart, right? Will you put up the mindful moment again so I can read it in case you're visually impaired or if you're listening on the podcast? Do you know your gay history? In the early morning of June 28th, 1969, New York City police raided a bar on Christopher Street called the Stonewall Inn. Cop raids were really regular back then, but this time the patrons, who many of whom were drag queens, they fought back, and violent clashes spread out across Greenwich Village over the next several days. By the time the order was restored, one thing was clear: the LGBT community would no longer tolerate harassment and intimidation. That source was Lambda Legal. That gave me goosebumps because just think of the change that has happened from 1960 or the 60s to now, that so many of us have, like, for 4.5 of those decades, I've been here for that change. And I just am so grateful to those people that stood up and fought back, because without that, you don't have any progress. And on that note, we are going to go into pride flag descriptions. And I will start as my proud gay self over here. This is the original, the granddaddy of them all, the gay pride flag. Gilbert Baker designed this flag back in 1978 for San Francisco's Gay Freedom Celebration. In the original 8-color version, there was a pink stripe at the top that stood for sexuality. The red is for life, orange is for healing, yellow is for the sun, green is for nature, turquoise, which also is the one that fell away, but that's for art, and indigo for harmony, and violet for the soul. And so now it's a 6, classic rainbow Roy G. Biv flag that is really... it's a really special thing for a lot of us that we could look to in our lives and know that we weren't alone. So that's one reason why pride flags are very important. And so, for example, my segment, The Rainbow Press, is a homage to the rainbow flag, and it is the first segment of every one of our shows. And I have a little bit to say about it, because this is also where we're going to educate everybody on what they can expect from Gals, Gays, and Theys moving forward into the future. The Rainbow Press is when I, JD Cargill, Gay Oprah is my nickname, kicks off each of the show with headlines, topics, and pop culture updates relevant to our fabulous community. Spoiler alert, LGBTQIA people are everywhere. And we have a deep culture, and we have a lot of news that is relevant to us. You heard several stories already today, because Kristy always brings us good stuff too that's super relevant. And of course, we're always open to taking tips, and like, if you want to suggest something, Dynamos, put it in the chat, and I'll do a news story on it. And we're going to move over to Miss Mariah now, who is going to tell us about the bisexual flag for a good reason.
Yeah. Hi, Mariah. I'm bi.
Hi, Mariah.
Hello, Mariah. Welcome.
Thank you. Michael Page designed the bisexual pride flag in 1998, a year after I was born. This rectangular flag consists of a broad magenta stripe at the top, representing same-gender attraction, a broad stripe in blue at the bottom, representing opposite gender attractions, and a narrower, deep lavender band occupying the central fifth, which represents attraction toward both genders.
I love that.
Yeah.
And Miss Mariah, it's perfect that you have the bisexual flag, and we have a segment here on GGT coming up called, I'm making you multitask, She's a Total B. Tell us all about this segment, Mariah.
Oh, man. She's a Total B is going to be a really fun segment where we talk about fun stuff, but we also talk about quite serious things in not only the bisexual community, but the entire LGBTQ plus community as well. Breaking stereotypes, stigmas, talking about all the things that our society thinks about bisexuals, how we're known as the unicorns of the community because no one thinks we're real. We do exist. There's
one now. Speaking of unicorns, you got to show off that unicorn.
I do.
Look, everybody, please draw your attention to the top of your screens. That's a bisexual unicorn.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's my mascot.
It's true though.
Yes.
Like, I feel like of all of the subcultures of our community, bisexual sometimes are the most misunderstood. I feel like there's not a lot out there about it. So in that segment, just explore. We'll have lots of bisexual people on to tell us about their experience and their journey, but especially like dispel those myths. There's a lot of, a lot of us in the gay community, the gays, will say that, oh, bisexual men are just on a train to Gayville. That's just one stop. But that's probably not true because they're just
there are bisexual
so
men.
many, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't joke. That's true. Let's honor people.
Yeah.
All right, and now the next flag we're going to talk about is the lesbian flag. That is DeMarcus.
Lesbian pride flag. All right, various lesbian flags have been used to symbolize lesbian community. Since 1999, many designs have been proposed and used, although personal preferences exist. No design has been accepted by the community as the official lesbian flag.
But this one that you're seeing on your screen is like the most dominant
current.
one, exactly. But there's some that have a kiss mark on it. I think it was for like lipstick lesbians or some. So like, get it together, lesbians. You gotta figure out your flag.
We need a flag maker.
I'm sure it's like a lot of creative people all coming together with a lot of ideas. I know it's hard for me to make a choice.
Who decides which flag we use?
I would love to know that. And they're like, you decide, you're the decider.
Yes. Who's the decider of the flags? Do we need our own flag?
Maybe.
For
we'll do some
us?
GGT
We
pride.
need a GGT flag.
Oh, I guess in a way we have
flag.
our little screen there. Yeah, I don't mind that. But not a bad idea. I love that. And on that note, I'm going to talk about another segment here on Gals, Gays, and Days. Which one was I doing with? Yes, of course. How to build a queen. This is going to be a fun segment where, if you know anything about me, your GGT host, I'm a full-time mama's boy. Hey, Mom. And I'm also
That's why
obsessed
she's
with
here.
drag queens. I love RuPaul's Drag Race. So in this segment, I will definitely be dishing on that show if it's in season, which I believe now with 400 different series all around the world, it's always in season. So we'll definitely be talking a lot about that. And we're also going to bring guests on who are experts. This is kind of our beauty fashion segment, but it's been against the backdrop of drag. Like I always say, if you can make a not so great looking guy a hot woman with drag, you can definitely help regular women, right? I mean, we're going to bring on hair experts, makeup experts. Someone will teach me how to walk in heels, contouring. That's just a big thing. If you don't know what contouring is, where you reshape your face with shadows. And I'm going to learn. That's art. It's art. It's a form of art.
It's a thing.
I've done drag a few times now, most recently with my my partner in crime over there, Elphaba, Michelle, and I. We've done drag for our friends
stay
play.
tuned because we're going to
We're
release
kind of a
Exactly.
drag duo now.
Yes, we are.
But what's your drag name, honey?
I'm a witch, so Elphaba is my go-to.
Elphaba.
So
I'm Glenda.
I've been green. I've been a variation of green. So
I'm throwing around different names.
he's my Glenda.
This
Got it.
So it's funny because I'm like, and people think I'm the bad one.
bad? What's
Glenda's the
bad?
bitch.
Bad is good.
Elphaba, not so much.
So that
she
segment-
puts it all out there.
She does. Elphaba's okay, can I just tell a quick story? Hi, Mindy. This is going to include you, one of our besties. For Mindy's 50th birthday, her husband had the Orange County School of Performing Arts do a whole play set against her life, and they needed a good and bad witch. So, of course, her besties step up. That meant I was going in drag for the first time, and it ended up being one of the best nights of my life. It was so liberating. I didn't even realize that was in me, to be honest. And it really made me rethink about identity and the way that why do we have all these constructs and why do we do all these things? So this segment, How to Build a Queen, on the show is going to lead up to a brave moment where I will perform in drag at some club. Probably however long it takes to transform me into a beautiful woman. So 6 to 10 years. I will be there at the club, and you guys will definitely know about it. So you
support.
feel
We're
the
gonna
dynamos.
go. Can we go live there? Can we do
be
something
so
like a
fun.
special?
I'm gonna
thing?
see if the cable will reach. I hope so. No details are known yet about that, but stay tuned.
Coming soon.
Now, let's actually, you know what? I want to
What's the
take a
other
little
flags?
break because we have to make sure that our sponsors know that we
JD, we
are
have other
here.
flags,
Yes, we
though.
have 3 more, Michelle. Do you want to run the show? Do you want to come up here to the desk?
Glenda
Yeah.
Here
just
we
did
go.
it.
That's the phone. But we will be right
I was
back.
just telling you about Glenda.
Oh, she's
We
the
all
bad
have our light
one.
and our shadow, honey. All of us.
Roll the break, Mariah. It's no secret, it's been a rough few years. Relationships have been challenged. Crime is on the rise. shocking things have made their way into your mouth. Let's face it, there are days when you don't even recognize yourself. You need a fresh start. You need Reseticate. Reseticate, from the makers of Complainomo and Eat a Dick, utilizes a proprietary formula of ancient, mostly forgotten ingredients including fitness, rest, balance, breath, therapy, moderation, and self-esteem. Reseticate is not a drug or a supplement. It's not available in stores and your doctor won't know about it. Side effects include fearless, bold decision-making, a tighter ass, and death of shame, guilt, and self-doubt. Reseticate. You don't need a new you in 2022. You're beautiful. You love yourself. You need 2.0 you in 2022. And you can have it with Reseticate. And if you look closely at the bottle there, you might have seen one of the drag queen names that I am throwing out there as a possibility, Nita Fresh Start. Did you guys see that on the bottle? The name is Nita Fresh Start. And the theme of today's show, by the way, is fresh starts, if we didn't get that out there. Okay, so now we had to say goodbye to Mom. Bye, Mom. I love you. She braved those stairs. I love that woman so much.
She's just, the angel energy is just amazing. Yeah.
Totally.
Angelica.
Okay.
Angelica's here to tell us about what it means to be pansexual and why their pride flag is so important.
The pansexual pride flag holds the colors of pink, yellow, and blue. The pink band symbolizes women, and the blue symbolizes men, and the yellow is for those of non-binary gender, such as agender, bigender, or gender fluid. And that is pansexual, everyone.
That is very cool.
I really enjoyed reading that and understanding that.
Maybe I don't know my sexuality for sure.
Maybe you're like, wait a second.
She's like, wait,
Agender,
She needs a
non-binary.
rebrand.
See, I'm learning. I'm learning on the show. Oh,
That was me.
That's all right. Here we go. So what segment did I want to read next, Mariah?
we got
That
some
one?
positive reactions to the commercial in the chat.
Oh,
Everybody loves
really?
it. They're like, it's so funny. The commercial was the best.
We got
I love it. What
And
did
there
what
were
did they say about
shout-outs
the
to
commercial?
we got that commercial was the best, hilarious and funny.
And it's time to reset. It really is. I mean, if you think about it, that segment, by the way, that commercial, it came from, for people who might be hearing impaired or didn't see it, or for podcast listeners, we have a Reseticate. It is a sort of mock-up of a pill that you would take in order to reset your life in a healthy way. What's the proper way to reset your life? Reseticate. It was a little bit of a joke, but it's real. And that segment was going to be a regular segment, but instead we're just going to do them as ads, and we're going to bring in a trainer, a life coach, a stylist, whatever those areas are of your life, a nutritionist that we need to reset. And there'll be some fun tips in the ads coming up.
I love
It'll be
that.
fun. And that leads me to another segment that we're going to be doing here regularly on Gals, Gays, and Days called Confessions of a Celebrity Reporter. So if you don't know, I have been an entertainment news reporter and producer for the last 25 years. I spent 4 years at KTLA and then CNN for a decade, and all that time, and then ArcLight. I hosted ArcLight Stories for the last 8 years, and of all that video, I saved it. And we're going to be coming to you with some fun historic clips, as well as a round table of people who work in the industry, so we can talk about everything from the joy and the amazing. There's so many amazingly talented, amazing people I just said amazing so many times, in Hollywood. And then there's some real crusty folks that could stand to.
The crusties could be our
Yes.
haters. The
Yes.
crusties.
They're just crusty.
We got to write these down.
But
I like it.
But again, we're about love here, and so we're not going to really be throwing out like hardcores. But who knows? We will just be authentic. That is what we're going to do. And yeah, everything is with intention. And so with that, it's actually meant to be it's funny, of course, and irreverent, but it's meant to be an educational show. I'm going to teach people the ins and outs of celebrity journalism, what it's like, tips. I'll show you my biggest mistakes.
Oh, you're going to show clips of that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, I've got 4,000 interviews.
Oh, I can't wait.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Can't wait.
It's one of those segments. I've really drugged my feet. So if anybody knows me, I know a lot of people that are gonna. This will resonate with you. If you've worked for a corporate company where like your social media, everything is controlled, like
Right.
you represent that brand, and so that's understandable. I don't have any of that anymore, and I don't care if I ever talk to another celebrity again, to be totally honest. Although I end up probably will on the show, but I do feel like I'm liberated, I'm free, and I can give you guys the honest scoop about what it's like to work on the red carpet scene. Like I said, I've covered 11 Oscar red carpets, the Golden Globes, the Emmys, the Grammys, film festivals all over the world. And so all of that experience came with a lot of fun tape and a lot of fun experiences. So I'm going to share that with you in that segment called Confessions of a Celebrity Reporter.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun to do myths too, like what a whole bunch of people expect as a celebrity reporter, and then who's actually what actually happens.
Exactly.
Especially with award season now, it's pretty relevant about what there is a lot of smoke and mirrors, and people think it's so glamorous, and it's not.
I have two friends that work for E! News, and they run their whole life show and social and all the things that I'm so in awe of them, because especially when they're doing the entire show live, they've got to have everything pre-done for hours on hours and have every single asset pulled, exactly what Mariah does, but for hours, and they know it's coming. And if one
every
person,
movie that's coming out, I used to do that.
That's so crazy.
And then you have to know every celebrity that's going to walk down the red carpet. Make sure you have their name right. Make sure you have their card ready. For the talent, JD was both sides. I was always behind the camera. But it's pressure equal, because as a producer, you got to make them look good. You got to make the show look good. And as the talent, you got to project all the hard work of your whole crew, and it's live.
Yeah.
So
One of the hardest jobs is, both at KTLA and CNN, I was on the red carpet arrivals line, because I managed all of the feature film relationships with the studio and the network. It was logical to put me down there, because I knew a lot of the representatives and the publicists. And that's when you're live on the red carpet and you've got to hit a time that you've got to have a star there, and everybody around, there's hundreds of reporters around you who also want to talk to Beyonce on her way to the Dreamgirls, Oscar moment. Holding her there until we come back from break is like, da-da-da-da-da. So you're making the most random side, and just so you know, you're trying to comfort them, you're trying to do everything you can, so they're so their publicist isn't we got to go to E! And so that kind of fun stuff we will talk about. We have a lot of history in that, and I'm going to bring in folks that know it too, because I have a lot of friends that do this for a living. And if you're out there and you're considering a career as a celebrity reporter, you will take away some important facts about the business and what to know, what not to know, because we intend to educate here. So whose flag is up next? It must be you, Miss. I think this is our final flag too. By the way,
2 more flags.
Oh, we have 2 more.
Yeah. I was gonna say me.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, we have this one. We'll start with. Let's just go to you, Michelle. The asexual pride flag.
Oh, okay.
Is that where we were? Yeah.
Okay. This is the flag. Ooh. Okay. Following robust debate from several asexual communities, the asexual pride flag was created in 2010. It consists of 4 horizontal stripes. The black stripe represents asexuality. The gray stripe signifies the gray area between sexual and asexual, and the white stripe symbolizes sexuality, and the purple stripe symbolizes the community as a whole. So I love this flag. I think it's very beautiful.
It's so pretty.
I do think it's beautiful.
And I've never seen it before.
Yeah, me neither.
You know what? In researching this segment, I learned a lot about asexual community. I did not realize that it was so diverse. There's so many different identities and subcultures within that one group. Like they said, they had to get enough people together to sort of vote on it. And it's very interesting, because I think it's easy to think of asexuality as just lack or absence of sex, but it really isn't. There's more to it, and we will get into segments on that in the show and have people in that can tell us firsthand what that means.
Well, I think it's wonderful, because I think we as adults have a lot to learn, because we're just conditioned by our history. My middle schooler knows more about these different areas.
Really?
And I love that.
Yeah.
Because our children should be our teachers. It's not always the other way around. We're not in charge.
Right.
And I love that they're talking about it in schools. And my son's in an LAUSD school. It's a magnet program for humanities, but they had a whole course on sexuality. And he's coming home, and it's starting conversations. And I have a 10-year-old who is now hearing it 2.5 years before his brother did. And I love that exposure.
Wow.
I love that.
That's a fascinating topic too, because I never, it's one of these tricky things, especially when it's other people's children. Like, how honest can I be about who I am and my sexual orientation? And I know at your house, it's, unconditional love, but in a lot of places it's hard. Maybe we'll bring an expert on who can talk to us about when is the right time to, or what to dissect that and break it apart and really understand about sex.
I think it's about
stigmas.
exposure, though, because there is stigmas. There shouldn't be an age when it's the right time to introduce what is out there in the world.
Well, because how young do heterosexual relationships, parents show their kids? I mean, they are comfortable.
But you're talking about the act of sex.
I just mean to me,
either way.
sexual identity is a
I
complex,
don't
sort of a
think
complex.
identity has anything to do with the action of sex. So when is it too soon for my kids to know how to make a baby is a very different dialogue than what kind of people are out there and who's out there and how to be accepting.
But then what happens when the question pops up, but what's the difference then?
Right. And how do they have sex?
Well, it's expression.
Right? Mm-hmm.
It can be a tone, it can be expression. Kids know energy. Kids can feel when someone's different. The sooner they have identifying markers, the less stigmas there will be, I think.
Yeah, I wish that would have been in grade school because there was people,
we were just talking about this.
Well, who were Jehovah's Witness, they were ostracized because people are you don't celebrate Christmas? What does that even mean? And they would just go along. They would just move along.
Yeah, that's
and the people
so
felt
true.
they. And this was in third grade.
Right.
So, I mean, if it was more of just an understood topic that, okay, you guys are all figuring yourselves out. You may not know what you are. That doesn't mean that you need to be in a certain group right now, but learn about all the groups and then figure out.
And we're all evolving.
Yeah.
We're all
may
evolving.
change.
Look, when some of us were younger, you guys probably didn't have the same experience. But remember the joke, oh, you're on the special bus or the special class?
Right.
Yeah.
And it was all the same kids who had a myriad of different learning disabilities were all stuck in one classroom and made to feel different and ostracized. When now they put them all in the same classroom and have special times when they might be taken out or have someone there to support them, but to put them in a different room and put you all under the same label was, we've evolved. We've now labeled those things and investigated what are the different needs for each kid who has maybe dyslexia. Oh, you have ADHD or you have, but to not figure out what it is, it takes away, I think it kind of keeps a person more in a shadow when they shouldn't be.
Totally.
I wanted to
Oh, no, I was going to say one thing is that I think could be really helpful is the media. You watch on Netflix, and so many shows. Me and Mariah actually went to a premiere of a show called
Everybody's talking about Jamie.
Yeah, we got invited, and it was so interesting. All of the media and what they're learning is
it's a
vastly
play.
different. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and
it was a
about
movie.
drag.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Oh, you've seen the play too?
No, we saw
We
the
went
movie.
to the movie.
Yeah,
But
we
now
went to
it
the
is a
movie
Broadway
premiere.
show.
Yeah.
Or it's at Almonson, right? Almonson, we're going to go see it.
We're gonna go.
But
We'll be
so
talking about it in
good.
future weeks.
But they're now given all of that. So I think that those organic questions will come up more
Representation.
naturally
Right.
than it would have been okay, I'm going to sit down and teach you this PowerPoint presentation. They're seeing it in movies, shows, on social media. For example, the Barbie ad with the influencer. There's so many other conversations that are happening to where I do feel it could be a completely different
to
situation.
me, the way we are humans, we're all humans, we're people of the world. That would be like me saying, when is it a good time for me to introduce my children to an Asian person? Let's really think of it in that way.
Yeah.
Or I wonder what age would be appropriate for me to tell my son he's of Latin descent. What? Of course, you would never say that. Or
Right.
maybe there are
This is-
people, and that's an issue.
This is just sometimes you'll say someone will say, I wanted to ask if that guy was gay, and I'm like, then ask if he's gay. It's not an insult.
Well,
you
I-
wouldn't pause to ask
Yeah.
someone if they were Catholic.
Well,
or
you were thinking,
and that's choice.
You were thinking one time, I'll give you an example. JD was trying to be polite around my children. He is sensitive. He's dancing around what he's had to deal with socially.
Right.
And you asked me one time, I could cry, but you were like, is it okay for me to kiss my boyfriend in front of your boys? I'm like, we're at a party. Why wouldn't you hold your boyfriend's hand or kiss him? Of course. And I wouldn't even think that it was
Yeah.
I mean, I did want to fully make out on the table, so it was more than just a kiss, but
Just a few drinks in.
We
maybe
held
you
back
wanted
just a little.
But do you know what I
no.
mean? Like,
God, I
just-
think about that. That is tapping right into a big theme of this show, which is shame, doubt,
Shame,
fear,
right?
and
Right.
how yeah, I thought for 20 years I was out of the closet, and it turns out I wasn't. I was just in a different kind of closet, one where I was very, very fearful and very like and just so much of my life was defined by shame, and I didn't realize it. That's what is nuts. But I've had an awakening, genuinely, and this show is part of that awakening, and
And the
we-
fully
expression.
loving myself,
Yes.
embracing myself, knowing that this is okay and that I'm not going to go to hell for it.
Yeah,
You
the
know, that is
expression
the
of your truth,
scary
JD,
part, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You being, this is who I am. This is how I want to express myself. This is what I'm comfortable sharing with others. And there's some things that are for us. Like sometimes people may not want to choose their flag or express that publicly.
That's exactly right. It's okay
And
as
that's
well.
okay
No
as
labels
well.
is okay. Yeah.
But this dialogue of educating ourselves and finding out what this is and exploring this.
That's what we're here for.
Part of
We're
what
here
this
for it.
time is about,
I
right?
love this. I love
In
this.
general.
This is so amazing.
Oh, DeMarcus. Yay. I definitely need a button that's like, oh.
We'll just do
But
it.
in the-
All of us.
Okay. So I do have a sad trombone.
Oh no, that will never happen.
I like the
That's
Oz.
So
Yeah, like-
I don't want to go to another segment that we are at. By the way, we are right at the 2-hour mark, folks. Can you believe how fast that flies
That was
by?
super quick.
Father School. Father School is a very personal segment to me because I've wanted for a very long time to be a father. It's a lifelong dream, and it's a little tricky. Not tricky, but there's a lot that goes into it when you're not going to accidentally make a baby with the woman, or purposefully. The thing is, I don't really know that route just yet, and it's only very recently become part of my next year's plan. So we're going to bring on psychologists to see if I'm in the right place, and this is something, it's a real identity for me versus something I was just trying to put on because the world expects of it. We're bringing an adoption expert, a surrogacy expert, people from the world of sperm. Is that a thing? I don't know. I have advanced
world of
The
sperm.
world of sperm?
I got to know if my guys are
where do
still
we go?
swimming.
The sperm world.
Maybe they're like this on The Simpsons. Remember, like just two left, just bumping heads.
Is that like an
No, you gotta
adult
get-
kind of
There-
a
yeah,
theme
don't
park?
anybody
Like that
look
you
that
can
up
go
on
to?
your
Reproductive-
on your
world of-
export on your
Reproductive
engine.
expert.
Yes, a reproduction expert.
Oh,
That's what I want to talk
'Cause
about.
I like
no,
the
I
world
just,
of
Sperm
sperm
bank.
as a thing. I don't know.
like I just
That
feel
should
like
be the
doing all the
episode.
things people are scared of. So I literally was gonna go get tested, however that happens.
Wow.
Seems like a fun process. And when the report comes back, I'll just read it to y'all and be like, yes, or I'm gonna be adopting, or whatever. Not that that's a plan B, because that very much might be plan A. So we're just gonna go through it together and figure it out, and I hope along the way share a part of my life that people can relate to and maybe are going through. So that is probably the segment that
That's very
this is very
personal.
selfish in some ways, right? I'm just packing the show full of stuff that I want to do, I want to learn, and
But so many people can relate to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really know if I've ever seen anything like this on the internet.
No.
No.
So, I mean, we're just paving the path, right?
And we're figuring it out as
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah,
Having some
exactly.
real
Buckle in,
honest
everybody. It's
I
moments.
about
love
to be
it.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
I feel like too, this is like so interesting. I've never I didn't know about all of these flags. I didn't know there's going to be a lot that I feel like all of us are going to
course.
learn with
Right.
everyone
Absolutely.
else.
Right.
And how interesting it is.
And this is the tip of the iceberg with flags. I mean,
Oh.
there's so many flags. I didn't realize
Isn't there 70 something?
there's a lot.
There's a
There's a
lot.
lot. There's
Wow.
ones that
Yeah.
also represent subculture interests,
Oh,
like
really?
bears and people that are into leather and like associate with different. I want to make sure I'm always using the right language. I don't know if we use that word fetish anymore. It might be parasexual or something. But we're gonna dig into all that. We're figuring it out. This is a conversation.
we don't
Things you
kink
like.
shame
This
here.
is meant to be an open dialogue where we are open-minded and learn. We know who we are, finally. I speak for myself. I finally know who I am, and I'm fearless. I'm going to put this information out
I
there in
love
a
it.
constant way so that anybody like me that stumbles across it is like, oh, I needed to know this.
Remember, we had a sperm bank discussion on one of our podcasts. We had a great show. It was called Friendship and Fertility. And two best
Oh,
friends.
gosh, that was a good
her
one.
best friend was down to her last eggs because she found out she had cancer and had to have a hysterectomy, and she ended up getting eggs from her best friend. So her twins are her best friend's eggs and her husband's sperm.
Wow.
But they had to go to a sperm bank for him to do the sperm to get the embryos. And at the time, she had just been on Apprentice, and she's drop dead gorgeous lawyer, and she was on the cover of Playboy.
To pay for the process.
To pay for the process.
love
She was
this
like,
story.
fine, I'll do it so I can pay for my
Exactly.
'cause
they were models.
It is an expensive
Yeah.
process. But one of the men who came, she was waiting, and a man who came out of the room where they do their thing, you know.
What do you
Leave-
call that? Where they
leave-
deposit
donate
their,
the specimen.
deposit their specimens. Hey, I like
He
that.
gave her this really crazy look when he came out of the room, and the woman was like, and our guest was Chrissy. She went to the guy in the lab and was like, "What was his problem?" And he goes, "Your magazine is in there." He just deposited to her pictures probably, and was having a moment like he opens the door and she's
so
right there.
funny.
Could you
Oh my
imagine?
That-
He's probably like, oh my God.
I know. He's also
I'm
probably.
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was just fantasizing about
Can you
you.
Can you
with her.
imagine?
Right?
That's
He was like, I'm going to be
hilarious.
respectful. I'm
Yes.
going in my little area. It's not about you, babe. I'm with her. And then she's in there in the magazine.
That's hilarious.
Isn't that
That's
funny?
so cool,
Yeah.
though.
So she was like, "Why do you give me such a dirty look?" And he was like, "Your magazine's in there." So that was a funny sperm moment. But you'll have your own story to share.
I
when
will.
that
I hope
happens.
it's a good one. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. Who knows? That's the truth. I don't know. I don't know so many things. I mean, one of the biggest areas around it is money. Like, how am I going to finance this?
You know what?
What?
There are ways that you can get around that. I have a friend who, him and his husband.
Is this that black
they-
market thing we were talking about?
No, they literally
dark
found,
What?
Dark-
they
this is the dark
found
web.
a woman who
I got
was
a baby
willing
for
to
ya.
be there, not only because there's gestational carrier and then there's surrogate. They're two different things. But they did it on their own, and they turkey basted in the comfort of their home and avoided all kinds of fees.
Wow.
And I don't know legally how they worked it out, because there are still a lot of legal fees, because you want to make sure everyone contractually does what they
Sure.
say they're going to do.
You just need a lawyer and a
So-
turkey baster.
Yeah.
And we're good.
You can
Ay, ay, ay.
find many ways. I mean, a lot of people, unfortunately, and this is with plastic surgery too, people are going outside of the country
Yeah.
and have a myriad of other dangers.
There's like
and
Mexican
things that can
cities
happen.
across the American border
You
that are
know?
known for it.
Yeah.
And dental work,
insane.
too. That's
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Oh, I've heard
So
dental work
there's
in
dangers
Colombia.
with that, and
I want to go.
there's ways to do it
He's
cheap
ready.
in this country. Is
So,
what I'm saying.
how Hollywood are we right now, everybody? We have to say goodbye to our dynamic duo sidekick DeMarcus because he's got an audition.
Audition.
You're
Let's,
gonna kill
let's
it.
put
We're
in the
gonna miss
universe,
you.
Angelica. Get the job.
Get the job. You're going to
Get
get
the
it.
job.
Or gig.
Get
It's
the
Get the
gig.
gig.
The gig.
Love it.
Get
All right,
the gig.
DeMarcus.
You
we love
are
you.
Break
amazing.
a leg.
I love
break
you
a
all.
leg.
Enjoy.
I would say you might want to take this off for the.
I don't
Right.
know.
No. Be proud, DeMarcus. Do not take that off. You walk right into that. You walk right into that audition with your little
I
gay
love
cowboy
the
hat.
hat and everything.
I will see you all on the next show.
Good to see you.
Bye.
So nice to meet you.
Don't you guys love DeMarcus? Give us a shout out.
Human
Give us a shout out on
candy
the
and
chat.
so
If you
dependable.
want
Did
to
you
learn
say
more.
human candy?
Yeah.
What kind of candy?
So sweet. I guess chocolate. Is that wrong to say? He's
No.
delicious. He's amazing. What's wrong with that? Also, Skittles. I'm Skittles.
Taste the rainbow.
Oh, I love that.
We have one more flag, don't we?
We
Yes,
do.
we do.
Yes. What is it?
Wait,
Oh.
we just had someone write in.
Okay,
Yes.
dynamic duo.
West Hawes
Okay.
said legal fees cost about 20,000.
20,000.
Just the okay.
We had someone in the chat.
That's crazy.
All right.
West
Well, I knew it was going to be
Hawes.
expensive. I'm sure that's just the legal fees. So if you do end up doing surrogacy, and then you have, you know what? You know who's perfect guest for this? My mentor, Rob. Hi, Rob Goff. I hope you're listening and watching. We're gonna have you in and talk about the process of making your little freaking. He's the most gorgeous little boy. He and his husband. That is. It makes me feel like
There's not one
it
way.
was meant to be.
There's not one.
That's
way.
right. There's no one way. And they adopted, I think. So that's, I'm super open. Like, I just feel like if you're meant to have a family, that's really what it's about.
It's
is about
Weston.
family.
Weston said it in the chat.
Oh, hi, Weston. Shout out to you and George and Berta, Rochelle, all of you. I love you guys. So we have one more flag, and Kristy is going to grab it because
Yes, and I just what is it, Mariah too? I just emailed you an asset to pull up because there's
on
something like crazy that happened today, and the girl was on my podcast, so that has to relate to this flag. So I just thought of it.
Oh, perfect.
So transgender pride flag. The transgender pride flag was created by American trans women Monica Helms. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. In 1999, the flag consists of 5 horizontal stripes, 2 light blue and 2 pink stripes representing the traditional colors assigned to boys and girls at birth, and the 1 white in the center symbolizing people who are transitioning, have no gender, or are gender neutral. According to Helms, the pattern is such that no matter which way you fly it, it will always be correct. This symbolizes us trying to find correctness in our own lives. So the story that I was actually bringing up is I have a podcast called the Bottle Blonde Podcast. And
a great blog and a great website.
Yes, but that one, we chatted with this girl who is phenomenal, and she's so freaking like stunning. And today she was actually, or a day ago, she was honored to be the first Black trans working girl with Victoria's Secret.
Wow.
And she was
there
in,
she
like,
is.
She's a
Stunning.
hot.
Oh my
That
God.
gets
And-
applause. Good
Yeah.
for her. And
And-
applause for you too, Mariah. You're turning these assets like
I
it's
know.
no one's business.
Yeah,
I literally,
thank you.
like,
Anybody in
walked
media
around.
knows
Yeah.
how impressive that is.
Thank
So
you.
amazing, but it was covered by like Page 6, and it's actually, she is the first ever to be working with Victoria's Secret. I think that's so huge.
Wow.
Just
And
great.
how cool that is. Yeah.
It's really
Wow.
it is
So amazing.
it's one of those areas, trans as an identity, that has suffered so much. I mean, we all have suffered, but I feel like because the fact that we just left a presidential term where he made it illegal for them to be in the military is bonkers to me. Like a whole group of people that exist just that want to serve their country should somehow not be allowed to is difficult to understand, but that's something that we want to explore at that segment. And you know what?
And benefits. I mean, when you think about health benefits
That's
for
right.
transgender or even gay people or couple, I mean, think about before gay marriage was accepted. Why should married people get tax credits? Like, why, it's stigmatizing the single and the gay community to where you don't have the same rights or you don't have the same health benefits. Why would a married couple be offered insurance to try to have endocrinology and make a baby when maybe a lesbian can't? There's so much in the health industry that needs to make this shift, and hopefully this wave of awareness and us talking about the flags and us being
just the
honest
media
with
in
our kids
general
earlier,
covering it
that
more,
that
yeah.
big wave becomes a tsunami, and the big corporate that control your health benefits, that control your taxes, make it more equal for people. It is a way of life that is being completely ignored by the government in a way that is completely illegal, really.
And if not, should be.
Yeah.
There's a TV show. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I think it's called American Auto, and it's on NBC.
Right.
This most recent episode literally digs into a company's response. So, do you guys remember when everybody for BLM was putting out making their black screens on social media, and then that got about a bunch of backlash because it was like, oh, great for making a difference. You put a black screen on social media.
Yeah.
Well, this took a spin on that and said that that they wanted to put a rainbow flag out. I can't remember. Did you watch this episode?
No, I've seen the promos for this show.
And it's a comedy, but it's so interesting how they did it because they have always a voice. This is how, what was the movie with, I think Tom Cruise really played an ugly old agent, and Iron Man was in blackface, but there was someone there to acknowledge that what he was doing was wrong. So they take the same approach. Tropic Thunder. So that whole approach where you're kind of using it as a platform to show why it matters, they did that on American Auto with the whole gay thing. And they had to reshoot an ad campaign because none of the families, they were showing 3 families by minivans, but none of them were gay families. And so they have this expensive reshoot, and they have to bring someone else, some other couple, and then they're worried about like, but does she read as lesbian? And like, what does that mean?
Right.
There's 2 women standing there with a kid. There's 2, and it was so funny to see how they tiptoed in like a way that you could share, because it's very controversial to do it these days.
Well, I'm sure you
Right.
Yeah.
get that in the marketing world of you seeing so many more commercials having, representation. But I've worked with ad agencies when I left KTLA, and they are working with an ad agency is a nightmare. And the way they handpick people and they overthink everything. Like you said, what focus group was this? How did this pass? Like how they miss the mark so badly when they have so many controls. It's really bizarre.
I actually had it recently happen to me, and it had never happened before. This was like 2 weeks ago. And I won't say the company, but essentially they told me that I was not diverse enough.
What?
And that they literally wrote it in an email. And that I big boobs, blonde hair, and white. And I was just like, the fact that you actually put this down in an email, I was just like, and she said, the woman literally said, you're not diverse enough for this brand trip. We're trying to bring in all these type of, and I was like, interesting. The people do it, but the way that, that was approached, same with, that
TV show.
It's crazy.
And they do that too. And on the show, they say, wait a second. Well, just, I don't think that one of the the 2 new actresses that are playing the lesbian couple, I don't think one of them is lesbian. And they're like, what? Like, do you know the backlash we're going to get if when given the opportunity to hire a real lesbian to play this, we hired a white person? And they're like, well, how do we know if she's lesbian or not? And they're like, well, go ask her. No, you can't ask her. It's against the rules. You can't ask someone what their sexual orientation is. How are we supposed to cast a sexual orientation, but we can't ask what their sexual orientation is? It was really funny. I'm impressed. I just think that's so brave too. I think this has to happen. Like, we exist. We're here. We matter. We are as perfect and beautiful as all people, us marginalized people. So the more media that covers it, the more movies that are about it, the more music that's about it, the more shows like this that are about it, the better it is. And then before you know it, the world's a better place.
About this. Sorry.
Do it.
One of the things is that it's become, for me, like, what can you say? What
Right.
can you say? Right? Am I going to offend somebody?
Ask.
If I ask a question,
would say that, ask.
or if I post something, and I have found myself sometimes holding back on expressing things because now it's like that's not the main energy that's out there. There's like this other energy. It's a wave of energy, like what you're saying. Like that's real in advertising right now. A lot of people that are like you lost money because it's now you're not what we're looking for, right?
Exactly.
And there's like a backlash if you're not in that. If you're not gay, if you're not.
This is an interesting topic.
And-
Is
and
this
just
bringing
like
up?
that, Sex and the City is doing that
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
where tone
And just
they're
like that,
trying
yeah.
to consciously, not unconsciously, bring a new breed of age, a new breed of look, and just like knowing how tone deaf they were in the original show, even though they were representing the city, which was not. It was just for white women. So they're trying to be woke, but in that way, they seem so unwoke and rusty, and it's uncomfortable. And
But I
feel
appreciate to try and
The
help.
effort.
To go back to what you were saying, Angelica, the best thing to do anytime you want to know something is to ask.
Absolutely.
And when your heart is in the right place about it, it rarely is offensive. Like if you ask somebody, what do you prefer to be called? What are your pronouns? I just want to be here. I'm showing up for you. I'm hearing you. I'm seeing you. You're real. You exist. You matter. So I want to honor that thing that you want to, like, here's what I don't understand a lot of times is, with this pronoun game, we're called gals, gays, and theys, right? The they is a reference to a pronoun because we will ultimately want to talk about that topic and help people understand why it matters so much. It matters because it's about identity. It's one of the most fundamental things about a person is how you identify who you are, right? And if something matters so much to someone that they're going out of their way to change their pronouns, why wouldn't you want to honor that thing that they clearly want for themselves? Like, is it really such an inconvenience for you to say they instead of her, or whatever the case is? I just feel like exploring that a lot more, and also with it, just within this whole context, is so important because just asking, just getting it out there. If you're like, this to me is such a fascinating issue, because of course it wasn't done probably in the right way. But what if you think about the higher cause, they're trying to diversify. They're trying to, but the reason that they're doing it is that they're just checking a box.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
Right.
do they really
You can
care
feel
about
that.
diversity?
I was
You
gonna
can feel
say.
that.
You can feel that.
And
Right.
too,
It's a
think
wave.
It is. And you can tell. And that's what made me laugh is, okay, so you're actually bringing people on this brand trip, not based on their values, not based on who they are as a creator, to check different boxes of who, honestly, too, I was like, I wanted to write back, do you have my 23andMe? Because how do you know, just based
How
on
diverse,
looks,
right,
how diverse I am. I'm
Right.
dyslexic female who runs a company at 25. Like, I think it's a very interesting, it's very interesting, and it's very surface level a lot of the times.
Well,
Right.
we have a chat, Design Your Detour wrote, representation needs to be in leadership, not just in ads too. And that's where, the representation in the corporate world.
That's right.
Where
That's
you're
so
not
true.
just, I'm going to be up here and hire people. No, the people hiring.
Yes.
need
I
to
would love
be
that
of
question.
Yeah.
Christy, go back. You say, would you mind sending me bios on your corporate leadership?
Yeah.
I'd just love to make sure that your
Right.
Yeah.
diversity efforts are really starting at the top.
Genuine.
Yeah.
And or is it just a bunch of white men up there trying to check off a box?
They're just
and they don't
trying
give a shit about
to- yeah.
diversity. They just want to make sure that this is
The
like
optics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the
optics look
So
nice. That's crazy.
We'll
But
get
it's
into that.
also it also becomes like a reverse type of thing where now if you're not that, you're ousted. You lose the job.
Yeah,
Right?
And
I'm bringing it up because it's probably not a really popular thing to
No,
say.
it's
But
not
it's
a
something
popular-
that
yeah.
I've been thinking about.
Sure.
That I am very.
you
I-
have the feels.
I
if
do wanna
it's on your heart,
understand.
we're going to talk about it.
I do want to understand. I met someone. I was doing readings at a party, and I tuned in, and I felt that they were a they. I didn't even know about this. This wasn't something that people were calling themselves. This was the very first person that identified in this way, and I said, I feel like you're a group of beings, and you identify as a they or a them. And this person was like blown away, and they're actually a recording artist, and that's what they called themselves. And that was my first experience from a spiritual perspective of why they changed their identification.
Is it someone we would know? I'm just curious.
Her name is called Clear. She's fabulous,
I'm
beautiful.
just curious.
Her name is Clear, and a beautiful recording artist that lives in Canada, and is a they and a them. Last I checked, because maybe she changed that, or they changed that. Sorry. See, I'm still doing it, right?
Yeah.
But it's the want to like.
Right.
You're
trying.
You're trying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm trying,
Yeah.
and even in the reading,
And
I
with
could
practice
see that.
comes-
Exactly. It's not that you have to be so perfect
Skill.
and on it every time. It's the want and the desire to make a change and
Yes,
different. Yeah.
Well,
a
but
knee-jerk
that's what
experience.
JD's saying. Like, whether you want to or not,
Right.
This is what
it is what it is.
Exactly.
It is
And
what it is.
if you really believe at its core that we are spirits having a human experience, we're not humans having a spiritual experience,
Right.
then we all have been they.
Yes,
And
that's
if I
right.
believe in reincarnation or past lives, then which a lot of religions that seem very conservative have that belief
Fully.
system, then that means that I've been a man on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a woman. I've been black. I've been brown. I've been everything. So aren't we all theys?
Right.
Like, why can't we all just relate on that level of spirits?
Something I'm going to talk about a lot with regards to they is a big part of my awakening, a big part of this new transition and new period in my life and full self-acceptance has been that I found a church that is gay celebrating, not just accepting or tolerating, which is so insulting,
I hate
by the
that.
way. If
I
you,
hate tolerate.
but the
That infuriates me.
and this place has really just flooded me with so much self-love. Like to feel like, oh my God, I know this sounds so rudimentary, but I think somewhere deep inside of me until like a month ago, I thought on some level I was going to go to hell for being gay. That's sad. And that's
But
deep,
that's
but it's also,
Childhood.
yes, exactly.
messaging.
It's the hurt
We
child
have to
inside of me that
unlearn
is
as much
not
as
processing.
we learn on
right.
this planet.
But this place, the new Abbey, shout out to the new Abbey. I freaking love you
Where's
guys.
the new Abbey?
It's on It's on the same.
on the
I'm not talking
street
to that. We looked it up. We're not supposed to put our own address out there, but it's here in Pasadena,
Oh.
and it is. Look it up. Newabbey.org. If if you want to celebrate people, and it's not like it's a gay church that everyone there is gay. The first time I went was just a month ago, and it was this view. I was sitting there, it's very modern. It's very like the music, the whole vibe, and yet they're still preaching. I happen to be religiously, culturally Christian, and that is a part of me. It's never left. God, and this is going to bring me full circle. So I really have this campaign with God. Like, we reference God with the pronoun he, but why? Like, God is woman, God is man, God is everything, all in, and so beyond us to understand that to ascribe this this pronoun with a very specific sort of patriarchal root is, to me, missing the point. Like, it's like, why not they? God is a they. It certainly represents everybody and is for everybody. And so one pronoun isn't enough. That's just a personal thing that I get into. And I'm also going to be talking about this church a lot because it really is, it's rocking my world. And I want people to know out there that, at least for my story, gay and Christian are not mutually exclusive. They can be one and the same. They can be perfect. And for me, it has been life-changing to accept that, to fully, really embrace
But
that.
you have to also understand you are in a bigger city.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
But they live stream. So no matter where you are, you
have
can.
the access that other
But you do with
towns
technology.
and country. You do with technology.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be somewhere where you don't have the access to
Yes.
that acceptance and
Right.
feel rejected by the church, and that's sad. That's like a whole nother show,
and
right?
such, and also, this is really important to me too, is that we are not here to villainize people or to say that, because I was raised that way. I was raised in a church to believe that homosexuals were going to hell. That was just it was like it was lumped together with pedophiles and all, the things. And it wasn't that they're bad people. They're not. It's just, it's tradition. And whenever you are reading the Bible and it all works for you, it's very easy to go with it. Right. And whether, whoever knows what statistics are right, between 4 to 10% of the population is gay. So, 96% of people potentially are like, yeah, this works. Yeah. And then, it's already hard. We have to wait till we get married to have sex. Well, at least you get to get married. I mean, before gay marriage was just never do it. My point is that this is a big world, folks, and this is actually really what I'm talking about right now, kind of connected to this last and final segment that we're going to do on the show, which I'll just jump into now because we want to respect people's time and get to it, even though we got plenty of time to
Rosie
chat.
did say, "God is everything." Drop that mic, boo.
Boom.
Rosie. Big fan.
Thank you, Rosie.
I didn't
Drop
have
the
a mic.
flag.
Oh, I do have
We
a mic.
should drop flags on the show.
drop
instead
I
of-
do have a mic.
Flags are
Karaoke
too
machine.
expensive. Let's drop flags. Everybody, drop a flag.
Wait. The truth is, I don't think flags are supposed to go on the floor. It's supposed to be a respect thing.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
we'll
God.
go.
Sorry,
Wait,
listen, these flags
respectful
were.
flags. Yeah.
We will be
Wave
more
the
respectful, I
flag.
promise. But Taboo, here's the segment. Last segment I'm going to talk about today. Taboo is, from gay marriage and recreational marijuana to cross-dressing and open relationships. Resident homosexual and proud graduate of Barstow High School, yours truly, JD Cargill, one-time mascot, explores all the things once off limits, now totally mainstream. Each new show will bring with it guests and experts unpacking the origins of social norms, the root cause of stigma, as well as the most effective ways to combat guilt and shame that results from being labeled abnormal in society. We hope you will join us on that journey. That is called Taboo. And actually, I'll go ahead and tease it now, but I'll say it again later at the end of the show. On Friday's show, we will have Erica Garza on, the author of a book called Getting Off. And this is part of our Taboo segment. She was addicted to porn, and her whole story is just so fascinating, especially from a female perspective on this issue. And so we are going to be talking to her on Friday at 2:30. So please join us on that show.
Sounds really good.
I'm
interesting.
so
I know we all
excited.
got perked up.
I know,
different
I'm
and
like-
interesting
Yeah.
and important.
Yep. I think that, one of the things I listed here was legalized cannabis. I hadn't tried marijuana really. I'd done it a couple times in college, but I don't know if we're supposed to talk about this, but whatever.
Oh, yeah. we
It's
could
legal
talk
in
about-
California recreationally, and that is when I picked it up around 2018, 2019 in there. And boy, I tell you, it has changed my whole perspective on life. Like, I felt so strongly that it was, I grew up during the 80s with Nancy Reagan saying, say nope to dope, and us seeing ads on TV of eggs frying on pans.
Just say no.
And then all these beautiful humans went to prison for so long for selling marijuana, which is just so bizarre to me. But now that we have a better understanding of it as a medicine, we have a better understanding of it, we're going to bring experts on that really can break it down so we can understand and really set judgment aside and replace it with curiosity. If we can do that in life, we can really save ourselves a lot of heartache, I think, and definitely save a lot of other people from bullshit and stuff that just isn't true. So that is the first, that's Friday's show. And then next Tuesday, we'll be here with Friends and Then Some. We're doing a recording. Oh, Friday's show also, Rosie will be here from our Radically Loved. She's our guru wellness coach and just an all-around beautiful, amazing human being, one of my best friends. Yes, I love her. And she's killing it in this world and about to be an author. So shout out to Rosie. I love you. So so that wraps up the flags and the segment section of the show. I believe we need to go to a mindful minute right now. Is that right? I don't remember where we are in the show, but that's okay because we are always flying by the seat of our pants. I love it.
This is our next one.
Oh, right. Actually, that's fine time for this because we've been talking seriously, and this is also part of what we do. Hit it. All right. This is... All right, and we are back. So definitely a big mission on the show here is to, of course, to laugh and have fun and be entertained, but also be a source of inspiration and help. And, these are big topics. These are big, important topics. If you're watching this live on demand or hearing a podcast and we've said something that triggers something and you need help, just know there is help. Just know it gets better. Just know that you're not alone. And so that last mindful moment was you can reach out to the trevorproject.org if you're thinking of hurting yourself. And also there's the National Suicide Hotline. And then this is the thing that I didn't realize that I learned in putting this together is that it's 741-741, right, Mariah? Yeah. So if you text the word hello to 741-741, any kind of crisis, someone will text you back. And so I didn't know that. And there was times in my life where that would have been the best route for me because I would have been so scared to call. But somehow you can text. Now. Okay. Well, you went in 741-741, but it is for crisis. So if you're in a crisis moment, you would use that. You don't want it to crowd people.
It's really a great thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
I can save it.
Mm-hmm.
Attest to it myself. So.
Exactly.
Wow.
So as you can tell, we're going through some change. By the way, this is the flow here. Like it is, you Dynamos, you've come and gone since we've been on the air. It's the open house approach. We say ding dong, someone came, and sometimes you go goodbye. We loved having you on. Our lovely Kristy McInnis had to get out. She had to go to probably some other fabulous event or work because that girl is busy. She has so many projects.
And busy.
And then Michelle will be right back in a moment. But Angelica, you're in the hot seat.
I am.
I do love this. And I do love okay, so why don't we just tell people about the fun day that we had out the other day?
Yeah.
And
Oh my
our,
God, we had so much
Let's
fun.
talk
And our
about
chemistry
that.
bonding moment.
Yes.
I have to say that, in the creative space, a lot of times in music especially, you'll hear the stories of people like, working in the wee hours of the night, and there's, cannabis there and champagne or whatever. They're trying to work out their creative flow or whatever. That's something that I used to have like this judgment on. I was like, why, how do you work if you're high? And before I understood cannabis better and was really judgmental of it. Did I say that clearly?
I'm just laughing because I like popped myself up in between you two on the
Oh,
screen.
I love that. Oh, gotta pay attention over here. You're so welcome.
I wanted to join.
So I was out, obviously for research for the show.
I mean,
What was the place called? Essence?
it's called Essence Cannabis in Pasadena.
It was
It's
like
in
the Apple
Pasadena.
store of
Oh,
cannabis.
man.
yeah, it was kind of like
High
Apple
tech.
So
screens and you.
clean and like organized and
Shout out to Dre at Essence. He's
Oh, yeah.
iconic, and we'll probably have him on the show at some
yes.
point.
And that was really like, I wanted to, and as a journalist, you really learn the best way to get information is to go to the source. And so who better to give me a really good understanding, all of us, and potentially come on the show than someone who runs a legalized cannabis store, right?
Right.
They probably are well educated. In our own podcast, we had the one-time president of High Times magazine, remember? And also it was that gentleman,
Al Harrington, who has Viola.
Viola. Yeah, that's another. This is also the business side of it is very intriguing to me. And
Well, that's what blew my mind in our podcast on 4/26, right? That's the Cannabis Day. What is it?
Oh, 420.
4/20.
Michelle.
Sorry, my kids are my son's birthday's on 4/26, so I always think of his birthday. But yeah, 4/20, and just the historical stuff of it. It's just we've always known it's medicine, and
I have
medicine
not
people
always known
were
that.
robbed by the pharmaceuticals.
And
Should-
it's been around forever. We
Well,
it's been
it
a part of
grows
our
out of the ground, right?
Exactly. So
Everything in medicine is of earth,
right.
and then the pharmacies will
Mix and match
take
stuff.
it and ostracize I mean, when she told us that it was really a form of racism of why they called it marijuana, because the Mexicans discovered this and
Interesting.
were like shamanic healers
Right.
and helping communities that were in pain and used it as medicine, and they wanted to criminalize an ethnic group. And that's the origin of marijuana. It's not, they just were trying to put an ethnic ugly name on it.
Right.
Here, I mean, it's called marijuana in Mexico because that's what it's called there. But the intention of government was racist, and then obviously
to
the
create this
pharmaceuticals.
association with
Yeah.
this.
Yep,
with
and the
people of color.
pharmaceuticals were
I mean-
like, we can't have this come out as a medicinal because that'll ruin all of our pills that we're making and our big business.
And the mass incarceration of Black people because of
But
cannabis.
yeah, it's another
It's-
form of the racism.
But
Right,
that reminds
exactly.
me of Ava DuVernay's amazing documentary
13th.
13th.
Probably
And,
one of the best movies I've ever watched.
Oh, wow.
by the way, setting an intention and putting this out to the world, Ava,
Oh man.
I'm gonna have you on this show, girl. I will.
She's-
I know you're big time now, and this show is just on the rise. But she was a publicist back in the day, back in our KTLA days, and she has an amazing story. And she was just so kind and real and on it back then. It doesn't surprise me at all that her career has blown up the way it has. But she is walking the walk. Like if you look at the production company that she runs, the kinds of movies they choose, it's just so filled with intention, and it is, in my opinion, so part of the healing journey from the 50s. Like I say that all the time. Like America was not great back then for me. I wasn't alive in the 50s, okay, but you know what I mean.
Well, we were conditioned, right? That this was good, this was bad. That alcohol was normalized,
Right.
At every event and in cocktail hour, and it was normalized
Right.
when we were growing up.
Right.
And then, of course, recovery movement really took off. And one of the things I wanted to mention is that anything pretty much can be a poison, or it can be medicine,
Right.
right? And that anything that is overused can turn into a poison.
Well, the
And
lack
it's
of
finding
moderation is the problem, right?
dosage. Because some people are super sensitive to things like marijuana. They're really sensitive to the dose, and you have an edible and they're so high for like all day, and they're like, oh my God, it was too much for me. Or
Right.
someone else, they can't feel the same. It's hard to dose these
Right.
things. And that's something when you go to
Because it's individual, yeah.
right, when you go and look into this, it's something to think about.
Right. And it demystifies things. The more we talk about it, especially within the context of fact, and we as journalists, Michelle, we're really going to drive home what is a fact, versus what is an opinion versus what is emotional in the moment, But the facts around the science behind cannabis, to me, will reveal more information that I need than the judgments around it. Like, I just want to know the truth. Like, how many grams creates what, I don't know anything, really. But I know there's multiple strains, and, I'm here for the research. So I want to go to our intention bowl, because I feel like...
That sounds fun.
Yeah, this is be a fun moment to play this. We're going to the intention bowl. So something that's super important for us, and I hope that, if you at home want to do it too, I think it'd be a great practice, is to, take pause, be present in the moment. And when you're about to do something or decide to do something, ask yourself, what is the intention? Like, what is it that I'm trying to get done? So with this show, I asked everybody to throw as many cards in the bucket as they want, just with what they want. What is the intention from today, from tomorrow, and for the next several years? So what's an intention, Michelle?
Let's cast aside shame, guilt, fear, and self-doubt and replace them with radical acceptance and self-love.
I wonder who wrote that.
I wonder.
I have an idea.
Want me to read
Any
another
thoughts on that? I mean, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
this is the breakthrough that has happened in my life recently. Was born out of just a significant amount of pain and just the sort of flattening out of my person, to the point where I thought, what is wrong? Like, why is this so hard? Why is life going like this? I was really unhappy for a long, long time. I mean, that's just the truth. And it's that I had this unresolved, I did not realize until I started going to this church and I started talking this way, that I actually was traumatized as a kid. It wasn't big T trauma that is so difficult to get through, assault or rape or sexual trauma, but it was these little T's, the boys in the field calling me the F word, the this look, whenever you wear something that's too effeminate.
Right.
All of the
judgment.
all of that judgment, those little T traumas add up. And if you don't go back in your life and acknowledge them and put them in place, because let's be honest, our trauma, our guilt, our shame, our fear, our doubt, that is all part of us. It isn't meant to be, in my opinion, cast aside, because they're part of us. We just have to put them in their place. Like, I like to look at it on a shelf and say, I know you exist. I know I had those experiences. I acknowledge it. And now I let it go. And now I put them up there, not to compartmentalize them, not to ignore them or bury them. That is what has caused so much of the pain.
Right.
Lifting that veil has been the most, I've told this to Mariah so many times in the last, really 2 weeks. That things have changed for me. This is different. I don't see life the same way anymore. And I didn't realize how unhappy I was for so long. And you don't know until you kind of have an epiphany that the way you've been living your life hasn't been right for you. You're out there and you're listening, if something isn't right, it's cognitive dissonance. It's this idea that something that you believe is not in alignment with something that you're doing. So your actions and your beliefs are not in alignment, and it's this constant barrage. And that's why I said I had to come out of a second closet recently, a closet of shame. I didn't realize that so many of my choices were rooted in shame. I went to Hollywood to be somebody because I was trying to I was trying to impress people. I was trying to say, look at me, look at my life. Look, I get to talk to these famous people. I'm something.
To be validated,
Exactly,
right?
because
When
that little trauma of not feeling seen and heard
Validation.
now that that's gone, like, I can genuinely say that, it is like the weight of the world has been lifted off me, and there is this freedom to truly be honest and truly be myself. And I know that's just, I'm just taking that moment. I just want you to know that, that is the kind of stuff we're going to be talking about here, like really digging into these things that we don't talk about that actually are determining so much of our life.
Right.
That's why even with the Father School segment, I'm scared about that segment. I'm scared because I've been through so much in the last couple of weeks. I'm starting to wonder, have I really always wanted to be a father? Or if I always just wanted to do something that society would that would normalize me?
Like, what's your come from?
Exactly.
What is
Where
the
does it come
intention?
from? Or
Why
is
am
it
I doing
real?
this?
Like,
Is this from
I
my
really
pain
think I want
body?
it. Mm-hmm.
Or is it from my soul,
Right.
my truth? And discovering that is part of the integration
Right.
process,
True.
right? You've
That's
got the
the word.
shadow and the light. What part of it is it's integrating those two things? It's not just one thing, JD.
Yeah, it's
all
not
of it.
just, you know, it's
well
not
said.
a
Thank you.
unique story
welcome.
because there's a lot of women who feel how you feel that you know, that we've been programmed to think we all are supposed to have these things and what it's supposed to look like. It's like the unfolding. We're constantly unfolding and unknowing. For me, I think going through a divorce, you know, and also I was very career oriented. I was like, does this mean I can't have children? You have I mean, we all can have children in different ways, but we have a deadline, right? Of eggs. So where you feel comfortable in fatherhood, like my ex was turned 40 before we had our first. So when there's a coming of age for men, it's later, right? But women are programmed we need to have our kids at this certain age. And then what does a family look like? We all have that programming. So when I went through a divorce with young children, I'm like, well, you get caught up in the should-haves and the could-haves, and you can't get unstuck because of that programming. My family doesn't have to look exactly the way I thought it did when I was a kid.
Right.
You can put all those messages behind you and live in the present. But I think that was a real part of my healing that took forever, was because I was like, this is not how you know, that whole, everybody says it now, this isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
Or this isn't my story. Or this is not how I saw me having a family. Well, so what?
Right.
You know,
It's
it
the way it
doesn't
worked
have
out.
to look a certain
Yeah.
way. It is what it is.
Programmed.
It's
There's
a
so much of
program.
this it's just an odd. I say this all the time. I feel like if you're not consciously choosing your life and don't understand the intention behind your choices, you might be on autopilot. I was for a long time, and being on autopilot can lead to a tremendous amount of sadness. It really can. It's a
Yeah.
discontentedness. I will say that.
Living other people's realities.
Exactly, or
with the
what is
things
expected
that
of you. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
put out there that you didn't even realize. Like, that's what the Matrix is about, right? Is that it's a program that people don't realize they're living in. And then when
Yeah.
they wake up, they realize, who am I? Why is it like this? What's really going on? What's behind the curtain? Or the Wizard of Oz, right? What's behind the curtain?
Yeah.
When we do that with ourselves, you look at that shaming program. Shame has a purpose. It gives you a conscientiousness. It gives you a conscience. We are creatures that have an ability to have a consciousness, to have a conscience, to decide what is our core value, what works for us and what doesn't. The problem comes in when other people control how we should feel about ourselves. There's basic things, you know, to not kill others unless you need to defend yourself, that kind of thing, right? We have these basic tenets in our life that we know are right and wrong.
Universal truths.
Right, universal truths. These kinds of things are mandates.
But even universal truths, like are contextual.
Exactly.
Murder is wrong, but if you're on the battlefield,
Yeah.
Right, exactly. If you're
Or
defending
if
yourself.
you're defending yourself,
Right? And then it is contextual. But
Right.
the universal truths are there as a mirror for us to see how we can live in harmony and live as a race of people. What happens is powers that be that want to control us, they start separating everybody, you know,
Can I?
really
Right.
young.
This
And
brought up
labeling.
a question that's
Yeah.
kind of a really. You just made me think, Angelica, of
Sure.
something that I've been hearing a lot about, and I'm kind of curious to see what you guys think about it. There's a lot of women in jail for killing
Oh,
their
yes.
rapist, for, you know, killing their sexual assaulter, or, you know, something like that, and they're in jail for a while. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think that these women should be in jail?
It's hard for me to. Okay, so I guess if you murdered the rapist in the moment, it would be self-defense. But you're saying
Right.
they've gone out and killed the person
I'm
who
sure
raped
there's, like,
Well,
a
them.
it's a lot
mix.
of domestic partner. Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a gray zone. Some
Yeah,
of it is
that's
a
true,
gray.
domestic.
It's circumstantial, and it's also based on evidence. It's based on who witnessed it versus the reality of the situation, and then the jurisdiction. That whole process isn't necessarily based on fact. It's based on so many other components, right? So where I stand on it is that what's the core source of this domestic violence? Why are we assaulting each other? Why do we have so much shame and we put that on others and we take their
Power.
their free will away from them, to take their sexual innocence, to beat them, to hurt them? Why are we doing that? To me, I feel like the biggest thing is people aren't feeling their feelings. We're enculturated to shut down, right? So domestic violence is outpicturing, rape is an outpicturing of taking energy from somebody else, taking their free will, and not feeling one's feelings. Because if you're angry and you don't act it out and perform it, you're not going to abuse another person. So these people, they're marginalized, most of them. They're marginalized
And
people.
they're shoving down their truth and compartmentalizing it so that at some moment it's triggered and it comes flooding out in the form of violence.
Right.
Or I can
But the women
freaking
you're
relate to that a
speaking
lot.
of,
Actually.
You know, the women you're speaking of, many of them are victims of the legal system,
Oh,
for sure,
yeah.
Totally.
right?
Systemic misogyny, systemic
Totally.
racism. It's just, you can look at the justice system is so flawed and needs to be reformed. I don't know anybody, I genuinely don't, that doesn't believe that on some level, because almost everybody's been screwed by the justice system at some point. But it's man-made, so it is inherently flawed. But not to talk about it, not to take a look at it. So I love that. Thank you
But
for
it
saying
does
that, Mariah.
start at a young age where I like that the language is changing in school, where they're not just helping the kid who's been bullied.
Right.
They're helping the bully because the bully has pain.
Oh yeah, hurt people
And-
hurt people,
Yeah, oh,
right?
Totally.
And they're projecting a pain that may be going on at home and may be able to be channeled in a different way. So it starts early, and LAUSD in particular has a new system called restorative justice, and other schools across the nation are doing it, where they really handle those labels, or when something goes down, to not like demonize a child who's still developing, that would literally be plagued
Right.
by a label at an early age and judged.
Yeah, but
So
that topic of the bully hurting, that's so important.
It is
I mean,
super important.
that's like we were talking about with haters, like people who go into comments and say awful things, and then
People turn on them.
exactly, and
start
it's
hating
just,
on them.
and then it's just breeding this hate. It's like, what is behind your hurt?
Yeah.
What is
Right.
it? Let's talk about it, because the truth is, you're not happy. Nobody's sitting around shitting on people in the comment section as a happy person. And also, another thing we're going to talk about on the show is the industry of hate and social media, and how these algorithms literally, for good or for bad, they promote the content that gets the most engagement. And what
Right.
engages people? Anger. And so you see something, and then so the kinds of stories that end up
Clickbait.
getting the most comments are stories that are propagating hate and division. And the fact that that's not being more controlled by all of us as a society to say this is not good. Like if studies show that social media decreases the self-esteem of teenage girls, then we need to do something about it. And what
But-
we're going to do about it is talk about it.
Yeah, but they, that's the thing. They're saying social media is a reflection of humanity, is a reflection
I see
of
both.
society.
I see that it's sort of like one thing happens, and then technology
Right.
though is it's man-made, but it's allowed a kind of conversation to happen in the world that is somewhat inorganic, right? Like, did we ever think that we were going to be able to talk right now to potentially millions of people from our basement? No. And so when people get and have a platform and they don't have, they're hurt. And so they're putting out stuff. They're just trying to make themselves look as beautiful as possible. I've done it. I know what Facetune is. I mean, I've really done it badly sometimes because I don't have the best skills at that. But letting go of all
Can we
that.
Facetune this show? Yes. Filter on.
By the way, do you know what I love? I love that one card you read led to 15-minute discussion.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
yeah.
the heart of this show is to. So if you want to write an intention, Dynamos, stick it in the live chat, and we will put it on a card and bring it up on a show. You want to do one more? Where are we on time?
I'd love to read one.
We have 5 minutes.
Rock and roll. Last
Or
5. Let's do
however
it. Yeah,
long.
go pick one.
This one's, I think this is a great.
Okay. All right. I want to uplift and inspire others.
Aw.
Yeah.
That I would love to ask each of you. What is one way in which you have been inspired, or would love to inspire others?
Do you mean today or in general? Just in general.
However you want to answer is fine with me.
Well, I'm going to say sharing my purpose with like-minded, like-hearted people and watching how the universe co-creates that intention. Myself wanting that. I've wanted that upliftment. I uplift other people, but I've wanted to be with like-minded, like-hearted people. And then that uplifts my skills and my gifts to a whole nother level because you're elevating. You're elevating.
Wow.
You're elevating. And
That is
that's
inspiring.
so one of the things for me is hang out with people that are better at things than you are. And that's one of my
My
things.
tennis coach used to
Yeah.
say that. Only play
Right.
tennis with people who are better.
Yeah. So
Right.
who around you is better at something than you are, hang out with those people. That uplifts me. And my inspiration truly comes from watching people's breakthroughs in healing. When I see somebody that has been so traumatized, let's say a man that's like a straight man that's rarely ever cried and is laying on the ground crying and pouring their heart out and saying, I need help. I don't know how to feel. I'm so vulnerable. I'm so scared. I need healing. I need help. When someone is vulnerable and open and wants healing and help, that to me, that's it.
It's an inspiring thing. It's an inspiring thing to see. Michelle?
How I want to inspire and uplift others.
Or how do you feel inspired or uplifted by others?
Oh, I feel inspired every day. I really do. I mean, that's the veil in which I like to see life. I mean, why I'm here. I have a check-in to just have I wouldn't say my baseline is happy because that's fleeting and it's kind of seems
Right.
really cheesy to say that. But my baseline is to
Content.
be inspired, to be in awe, like really like the simple things, like really just make me in awe. Little things, abilities, others. So I just like being here on this planet, and sometimes it's really freaking hard, and it's beautiful. It's weird when you're in a dark time that the beautiful things are really heightened,
so true.
and like they're on this bright, like this rainbow is brighter than ever, and things come in like high definition.
Like,
right?
think of the pain each of us has felt that has led to
Yes.
something so beautiful. What's the
Absolutely.
organization that you're part of that you all get together and talk about?
Well, that's kind of how Angelica and I met. We call it an enlightenment group. And we sort of
sounds
have
inspiring.
like a motley crew of X-Men who have different skills. And we share. And, I mean, through my divorce, I tried different therapists and I just didn't have a connection and felt really lost. And I found a group of people who were there to kind of hit a reset button together. We're from all walks of life. So it became my church.
Right.
And we met every Monday.
Oh, and I saw a
amazing.
noticeable change
I love that.
in you when you started to go there. Honestly, that they need Reseticate. We can get them some
Yes.
over there.
Yes.
Well, what about you, JD? What inspires
I'm-
you and uplifts you?
I honestly am really inspired by. Honestly, lately, I hope I don't put you on the spot here, but I've been so inspired by Mariah.
Oh, wow.
It's true.
I love that.
I've known her for a few years now, and I've watched a personal growth on a level that is so astronomical to me that it is inspiring. Like, what she can do. I mean, I don't know if any of you in media understand what it takes to engineer a show like
It's a
this.
lot.
Every single thing you've seen on the show, every camera move, every asset, every photo, every piece of video, she knows how to run all those machines over there, which I do not. And there must be 1,000 pieces of equipment in here to make
She's
all this
brave.
happen. And she is
brave.
naturally, at least was once upon a time naturally reserved, has really faced those fears and is coming out. I mean, this is huge for her, and I'm so inspired by you. And I'm inspired by everybody, but it's true.
Mariah,
Getting
what about
emotional.
you?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I was going to say, with my shift, honestly, since the pandemic, I have noticed the more I am unapologetically myself around people that I feel comfortable and accepted by, seeing the reaction from those people, the people I love, when I'm just honest in myself, because I think I'm being myself for the first time in my life now. Seeing the reaction from, all of you in this room inspires me to keep going and to do more. And like you said, like, it's really scary for me to do this, but thinking about, I'm going to cry.
Oh, let it feel your feelings. Angelica knows how important that is.
Yeah.
And now we're all learning.
And crying in front of other people I wouldn't have done before the pandemic. I would never have done that. But yeah, thinking about the people that I could affect, even if it's one person, that's what inspires me to just like push through my own fears and to grow. So yeah.
Yeah,
so
everyone
well
out
said.
there, think about what inspires you,
Right.
what uplifts you, and share it if you can in the.
I would love that. Like, if
comments.
what inspires you? It is so important to feel inspiration in life. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point if you're not growing, if you're not learning, if you're not looking at yourself and reflecting and trying to move the needle in the right direction? It has to be part of the meaning of life, right? Yeah. To leave the planet a little bit better than you found it, and to honor yourself and your truth. Oh, deep day, right?
Yeah,
I love it.
I think having these cards where we write different things each show to inspire the topic is really cool because it's so in the moment, right?
It is, and it's the truth. And I can't wait until we start writing the Dynamo stuff and throwing it in there too, because it really is about including everybody. I know I sound like a broken record for that, but just like Mariah said, like, so much of the mission behind this show is to provide a space for people that may be hurting, or maybe your niece, who you think is your niece, wants to wear boy clothes, but you don't fully understand that, or someone who's going through that. Help them watch the show. Maybe you're, having a hard time. Maybe you think you've come out of the closet, but you have a lot of little t trauma that has amounted to a bunch of unresolved, unacknowledged pain and shame in your life. Watch the show. We're going to talk about that. And it's also just a party. Boy, we got to turn this mood around, right? But it's true. Life is serious. Life is rated R. These things are true. That's why we're trying to be honest about all this stuff. And genuinely, I'm at a loss for words. I'm so happy about today and about the direction things are going in. And
We couldn't have ended on the best.
I got a call.
And just, I got a
universe.
call.
Solicitor.
It's the universe calling. We got to go. But you know what? What a great way to say goodbye. I love you guys. We like to end on a dance party where we're going to back this little song in for a little bit, and we still can. If everybody's out there feeling it, let's go. Oh.
Yes.
Yay. Oh my.
Oh, there's feathers going everywhere. Yay! Oh, that was amazing.
Fun.
I'm confident you belong here. That was my goodbye at the end of the day. I want to say I love you all. You're welcome here, Gals, Gays, and Days. We're 100% confident you belong.
Our first show.
Come out, Mariah.
Yay!
Bye.
Are we dancing?
Gotta figure out. There's the beat. There's the
We
beat.
should have it in the studio. Can we make it in the studio?